To me, once you've been married and divorced twice, that falls in the category of a multiple number, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd probably say like more than two. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. But
For sure.
I would treat it like this, right? What would be the reason why they got divorced?
That's the ultimate,
That would be the
that's the
question.
ultimate reason, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Now, how many people get to that question, right? Because sometimes what can happen is you can reveal that you've been divorced twice, and then
Yeah.
it's already a no. It's not. Well, why did you get divorced? Not everybody is going to
Right.
get the question. It's going to be twice. Oh no, I'm out.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, like obviously the reason, how long ago was it? You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Um, Not to mention that, you have to understand that the way I see dating
Uh huh.
is kind of like everyone has a credit score,
Yeah.
so there are certain things that's going to lower your credit score a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you have a low credit score or whatever, but then expect people to have, sympathy for you, it's not going to work. Because one thing about the dating marketplace is similar to business, it's very cutthroat. People do not care, you know? We can look at it as, oh, we can be empathetic and be nice and whatever, but that's not how dating works. People are very judgmental. So once you understand that or whatever, then you're going to be able to navigate through that a lot easier rather than just like have like hope. Cause like if you have like, a past that's like really like rocky and bumpy, like for you to expect someone to take care of you, making us just can't
Hey, your
have you can't have
phone.
it all. There were some
Yeah,
things
your
that
phone.
we had.
Hey, repeat a little bit
I have
before
poor
that because
connection.
your
I'm in
phone was
a
cutting in
bad
and out. Okay.
I'm in a bad area right now. So
You sound clear, which is interesting.
yeah, well, yeah, I have like bad connection over here, I guess. But I was saying that you can't like have it all. Essentially,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
have everything go your way. So if you have a bad past, whether it's your fault or not, I mean, people aren't going to care about if it's your fault or not. They're going to care about if it hurts them in the long run. People are very
Mm.
selfish. People are very judgmental. So once you understand that, you'll be able to navigate through dating quickly, or navigate through dating more smoothly, rather than just like have a bunch of uh like hopes and dreams about it.
Yeah, brother. I need to get back to your credit score analogy in a second. Hey, Dr. Love, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Is it too loud where I am? Because I am out.
Seems all right. We'll muscle
Sure.
through it.
Okay.
What do you think about the topic? Could you marry someone who's been divorced multiple times? Yes or no?
Um, I absolutely. I mean, to me, this question seems very judgmental. In some aspects, even ludicrous. Because when I see these kind of prompts on TikTok, it makes me feel some sort of way about them. Because I wonder if we're looking for solutions or whether we're just trying to put more stuff out there where or are we really getting to hear people's real mindset, especially on TikTok and social media. Now, should you marry someone who's had two marriages? Well, if the person is good, they have a good character, you like them, then why not? So you're saying, well, if that person's been married twice or three times, that shows something about them. But there was a hell of 2, 3 relationships. How could you possibly create an analysis based on how many times someone, it might be a little bit of, okay, tread with caution, explore what's going on here, instead of making a judgment, because I know people who would absolutely agree with the prompt. Yeah, if he's been married 3 times, he's a red flag. He can't hold down a relationship. If she's been married 3 times, she's a red flag. She can't hold a relationship down. But there is a lot more involved in relationships than when we become so judgy, in the sense where people don't get married to break up. That's my understanding. I asked you earlier on, is that different to serial daters? You said, well, it is a little bit. But to me, the marriage, you've made a commitment with someone. Whereas if you're a long-term relationship, those people will clearly say, no, we don't need a piece of paper to signify our love. But if that person's been in one relationship here, two relationships, and it's the same thing. I think we have to judge people based on who they are. Instead of having, oh, if she's a single mother, would you marry her? Oh, if he's a single dad, would you marry him? Oh, if he, I think this is why people in 2026 are totally cooked. Because lots of judgments, but no substance. That's what I would say.
I mean, we live in a world where I think everybody has a threshold on what they think is more judging than the other, but everybody judges. Like I said earlier, you'll get judged for never being married. So I fall in that category. I've never been married. I've been judged. I've been judged up and down the wall. I'm judged for not having children. So I'm personalizing only for a second because I fit the category. Now, I've never been married, right? But people have a cutoff point. So if you've been married once, that can be considered one way. But if you've been married 2, 3, 4, 5 times, I mean, I'm not gonna act like people don't get judged for that. And like I said to Beyonda earlier, not everybody wants to know the context. I appreciate people who do, because it's okay. Well, why? Because there's nuance to why someone could be married and divorced multiple times. You have widows, you have, infidelity, you have abandonment, you have many things, So no, this world ain't fair. We know that. This world is not fair at all.
But here's the thing, Fifth. I hear you, which is why I said it's circumstantial, right? We don't know people's stories. And some people won't even tell you the full story, which is their own prerogative. The people that are self-proclaimed, people who know who they are, aren't really going to care whether someone's going to come and judge you for whether you're a single mom or whether you've been married twice or 5 times or 10 times. Some people won't care because we don't care. If someone has a mindset of judging you, people are, like you said, people are going to judge you for everything, for being too slim, for being too big, for being too talkative, that's the world we live in. I understand that. What I'm saying is, when the person carries that mindset of judging everything preemptively, that person's going to struggle. You're going to struggle because you're not really getting to know the person themselves. We have a list of judgments. I'm sure there's times where people go and make a joke, oh, I wonder if that would be like this. I get it. But what I'm saying is it limits in a world that is already limited by so many expectations, so many yeses and nos. It limits that mindset even further. The ones that don't care about what people say, how they think, what they think, those people are okay regardless. Because if you met someone with a mindset, for example, Fifth, who said, well, I'm going to judge you because you've never been married and you have no kids, that's not the kind of man I want to be with, he's a red flag. You'll probably turn around and say, all right, no problem. You're not for me, I'm not for you. And you'll move on.
And I have.
You won't be butthurt. But the person that will be hurt, who cares about what others think, those people are going to get affected by that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just making a point that, that I'm not, when I make points, it's not because I'm like pushing for it. I'm just making a point that that's what happens, and what happens in this world is that everyone judges people. They judge you for your income. They judge you for your height. They judge you by the color of your skin.
Your age.
They judge you your age. They judge you whether you're too young or too old. They judge you from where you're from.
100.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody gets judged in this world, and that happens in everyday life. So of course that's going to seep into the dating life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then we also have to admit this, and I understood beyond his analogy, and he's basing it off the topic that we had on my YouTube show. And that is, how many marriages and divorces do you have to go through before we look at the person who's been married so many times and divorced? It's like there has to be something there has to be a decision that has been made correctly or incorrectly that may explain why somebody has been divorced 4 or 5 times. Now
What
we
if
can
the
go in.
reason, but what if the reason, Fifth, on that, like you said, let's say like I said, Elizabeth Taylor was married 7 times. Do I think Elizabeth Taylor was the problem? I absolutely don't. I honestly don't. The men she was with, I think they brought different aspects of themselves and wanted to change the very woman that they married for different reasons. So I don't see Elizabeth Taylor being a problem, even though she got married 7 times. But the men, yeah. So you can't just assume, because it might be a woman who says, do you know what? I don't accept bad behavior. I don't accept disrespect. I don't accept being put down. Now, she's been married 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to look at her and say, oh my God, her standards are way too high. Well, those are her standards. So maybe the men that came into her life weren't up to standard, weren't doing what they needed to do based on what was agreeable to the both of them. What I'm trying to say is there is much more to this question than the basic part. Well, yeah, got it. Sometimes it might be true. But in my experience, people I know who have been married several times, each one had a story. Each one had a valid reason. Some were left, some were divorced. And it wasn't because they weren't good enough. It was because maybe Willy Wonka couldn't keep his willy under control, right? Or it could have been, he used his hands too frequently and one too many times, or we got other occasions where the alcohol was getting a bit too much to control. Maybe they were taking a bit too much sleepy poison. What I'm saying is there is reasons. And when you're in this industry that I am in, it opens up your eyes. You don't judge so empty because you don't know another person's story. And I wish people, even whether they're in the business, would have more of an open mind. Be with the person that you're with and get to know them and understand their character. If you can understand their character, that is something that is very rarely going to change. Instead of, well, this happened, and this happened, that happened. Nah, those are circumstantial. It takes 2 to tango.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because now I'm gonna pull up a real scenario. There's this actress. She's no longer here no more because she just passed away of old age, right? Her name is Diane Carroll. She had been married and divorced 5 times.
Yeah.
She admitted that the reason why she's alone now, well, this is when she was alive, when she did this documentary special, is because she said that she's difficult to be with.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a woman.
Great reflection.
Yes, we have a woman who admitted, because, every time you turn around, it's always the man did something. But you have a woman who admitted that the reason why that she is single after 5 husbands is because she's difficult to deal with.
See, now you and I will have a different interpretation. When I hear a woman say to me, I'm difficult, I'm hard work, I look deeper than her words. And it's not that she's difficult or she's hard work. Someone along the line told her that repeatedly, and she made it into her belief that she was actually the problem. Often it's because she'll have a certain way of being, and it's very hard to meet someone who is online. So it becomes difficult to both people. And maybe she had some traits where she might have been selfish, I don't know her, where she wasn't willing to compromise. And that's where that becomes a problem. And maybe she just realized, you know what, I am the way I am. I want to be accepted just as this, not changed. And these are the things that I have as standards and boundaries. And I want someone to come in who respects those. And then the other person has the opportunity to say, you know what, I can't do that. I can't do that. Let's not go there. Those are the kind of conversations people should be having, because when a woman tells me she's difficult, it's not that she's difficult. It's often that she has standards or boundaries and she just hasn't met the right person. And the person, and this is for men too. Men get it too. I'm not just saying it's women. It's more to do with the people that you date, that you meet, that create this narrative that the person then rolls with, that they are the problem. I'm not taking away accountability, by the way, because every human being should take accountability for what they contribute. But when I've heard that statement and when I've gone deeper, nah, that was the story she was told. And she believed it. So that's my thoughts on that bit.
Now, Dr. Love, I have a hard time believing that a man would get grace, the kind of grace that you're giving right now for Diane Carroll, that if he said that he was difficult to be with, that you would say that, you know what, I actually hear something different. I think most women would say, yeah, I believe what he said because he is difficult to deal with. I don't get that he would get the grace that, well, maybe someone
So
taught him
if
that
a man
and he
said to
accepted
me,
that.
yeah, men don't often say to me, I'm difficult to deal with. That's something I hear more of women, that they're told by previous partners. Most men, if a man said to me, you know what, I've been through a series of relationships and I'm really struggling because I can't see where I'm going wrong. However, I have been told and I think I'm difficult to be with. I would question what his difficult to be with is. What does he perceive as difficult to be with? And we go down that road and then we can see, what is he saying? Is that him being difficult, or is that him just meeting the wrong women who are not aligning with him, who want different things and have greater expectations? What's the real issue here? And this is what I'm saying, there's more to life than the way we perceive it. For me, when someone says I'm difficult and they've acknowledged that, often it's because someone told them that.
Okay. Hey, Genzo, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're asking the question, could you marry someone who's been divorced multiple times? Yes or no? What do you think? Oh, don't curse up here, okay? We just got to use TikTok language, all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, yes. The reason being is because nobody knows what they're doing. I think being vulnerable with your partner, especially in the beginning stages, and stating that you have no idea what you're doing, because this person is completely, no matter how long you spent with them, you have no idea who that person is deep down, right? Because we're all figuring ourselves out as we progress through life. So I think regardless of whether or not somebody has this so-called high body count or low body count, I think the vulnerability can kind of put the two partners at ease with each other, knowing that every step that they're going to take, there's going to be some hiccups, there's going to be some issues, but if you're willing to work through it, that builds that foundation of trust, and a lot of that, I guess, I would call it more like traumatic baggage is lessened, and it doesn't take a bigger toll on the relationship than it should. I'll land there.
Okay. Cool. So a friend of mine up here, his name is The Beyonder, he had what you call a credit score analogy. He was saying that there are things that you do in your life, in the dating, well, in your financial life, that will mess up your credit. I mean, if you are someone who missed bill payments, or you're someone who has poor money management, made certain, align yourself with certain, running your credit multiple times, taking on certain loans and having too many loans at a time, what it does is it affects your buying power. It affects your borrowing power, right? And that will determine how do you operate in this world in terms of what you can have and have not, right? So in the dating world, that could happen there too. If you're someone who's had multiple divorces, or maybe you've never been, maybe you've made poor decisions on the men and women that you have chose to have kids with, and those things have fell down, it will affect how someone will view you afterwards. You know, it's like we don't. There's no such thing as a on paper dating score, but then that would kind of go into your dating market score per se. That's the analogy that Beyonda came with earlier. Does anybody have a retort to that?
I do. I don't know if Dr. Love wanted to talk first, but I do have a response.
I think you say yours because I know what I'm going to say, but you, I don't want to. I don't want to sway
I'm
what
back
you're
first.
about
I'm
to
back.
say. So you go first. I'll wait till you're done.
Thank you. So this is my biggest question for that analysis is how many of those partners were actually vulnerable with their partner? I'm going to tie it back to what I previously said. Majority of dating relationships are premature, and they make big moves without actually laying down who they are, where they're at in life, and what they're willing to put up with and what they're not willing to put up with. That vulnerability, since it's been put on the back burner, eventually comes out in symptoms. Those symptoms eventually take a toll on the relationship because those boundaries were never expressed. So, like you were saying, like the whole dating thing, like I said, I don't care about the high body or count or low body count. What I think people should start having in their conversations when starting a relationship is that vulnerable aspect to it. Being completely open and honest with your intentions. If that's not clear, then the relationship has already been set up to fail, and I'll land there.
Go ahead, Dr. Love, and then we'll get back to Beyonda.
Yeah, interesting analogy that Beyonda gave. See, maybe I'm the wrong woman to have in your box to answer this, but I'm going to answer it. You see, the whole finance, the whole credit, it's there to control the consumer. It's to control the human beings that live in this world and put them in some level of debt. So when they give you scores and they give you points, it's like a reward system. You've been a good boy, I'm going to give you an extra point. You've been a naughty boy, I'm going to take it. But it's all about control. Minds need to understand that. So when we put that analogy onto a dating scenario where we're saying we're going to point women, for example, based on, how many marriages they've had, how many body count they've had, how many jobs they've had, whatever. And the same for men. Although I think, am I taking a limb by saying women do it a little bit less, so vocally? Maybe I might be wrong on that, so I'm not going to say that. But it's a scoring system that we're saying, well, maybe we should have one in the dating. My thought is absolutely not. Your worth is not defined by another person's opinion of you. People can have opinions. Yes, we are in a judgmental world and people are going to have opinions about everything. But their opinions do not define you as a human being. And if you are a woman and someone is sitting there saying, well, you've had 2 kids and you had 2 baby daddies and you've had this, okay, you may be creating a narrative of what this human being is about. But at the same time, you have a choice. You entertain it or you don't. That is your choice because that is your preference. And nobody can tell you what your preference should or can be. That is individually your choice. So I'm not sitting here saying, don't do this and you must do this. No, what I'm saying is to the woman who feels judged, to the woman who feels that she is going to be knocked down, her worth is less because she's been married or she has children or she has so-called baggage that I hear so often about. Any of these things, if you are going to define yourself based on what other people think, then you might as well just shut the door and stay in your room and isolate yourself because nobody else's opinion should define your worth. You are a human being. So when I hear this, should we do a scoring system? Again, for me, it would absolutely make no difference because you have your preferences. Fifth, for example, Beyonda has his, I have mine. If I'm not what you're looking for, no hard feelings, respect. There's the door, shut it on the way out. But if you think you're going to sit here and judge me and tell me in my face, well, you have got this and what do you bring to the table? My friend, if you do not know what someone brings to the table, what value they bring, and you have to ask another human being, what value do you bring to our relationship? Then you, sir, or you, madam, are in the wrong relationship because you should know what value your partner brings. And if you don't, then you are definitely in the wrong relationship. So I don't subscribe to this, Fifth. I think it's absolutely diabolical. I know it happens. I know people do it, but I would wish that people would walk away sooner because someone who's bringing in stuff like that and judging you, they're going to be a problem later on. So you might as well deal with it head start. That's what I think.
I mean,
And
well,
and final words. So when I said about the finance being all there to control you, which it is, are we now saying that men want to control women, or they want to judge them based on what they, give them now a number? Oh, well, you're a 4 and you're a 5. Who's defining those numbers? Because you don't hear, well, mind you, I don't know, American lives I've seen are completely different. It's not my norm, but I have seen a few that where women have also given men a 4 and a 5, and I'm like, what? Really? But yeah.
I mean, Dr. Love, this isn't a gender war topic, though.
That's why I said, whether it's a man or a woman, I'm just speaking from my own perspective
Yeah.
as a woman.
Yeah.
So I'm not digging at men or women. I'm just saying, even if it was a man, even if it was I have sons, as you know, even if some woman was talking about my son and saying, well, he still lives at home, mama still pays for his bills, and she wants to put him down and for him to feel less of a man because mama is still around and she can help him and she will support him. Little Miss Drama Princess over there wants to judge him. No. My son should be strong enough to say, okay, well, if I'm not your type and this is not what you're looking for, then goodbye. I'll wait for a queen that is ready and available for me. That's what I'm talking about, mindsets.
Yeah. Hey, Beyond, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I don't want to speak for you, but can you speak more to your credit score analogy, metaphor for a possible dating score?
No, I wasn't. It was an analogy. It was just to highlight, how people view each other. I wasn't saying that I agree with it.
No, I never said you did, but I kind of spoke up your point while you was away from the mic, and so I
Oh,
don't
okay.
want to I don't want to take you out of context. I just spoke what I understood.
Oh, well, I mean, essentially, I hear what Dr. Love is saying. I agree. Should be people shouldn't be defined by other people. By what they do. At the same time, though, you can't just do whatever you want and then not have consequences. So if someone is a PDF file and, they're in jail for as many years as they are, they come out a new person, I'm going to be happy for them. I'm going to want to see them prosper and, live their life, but I'm also not going to have them near my kids either. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's kind of like that. You have to, take everything with a grain of salt. And, I mean, like I said, the dating marketplace is cutthroat. I've experienced it. I've seen it myself. Women are harsh. Men are harsh. It is what it is. We can try to get them to, have a softer approach to things, but people are going to, have their preferences and standards. And if you don't meet those standards, either you're going to get someone that is going to say it in a nice way and respectful way, or you're going to, get get made fun of for it. That's just the way life is. I'm not saying I agree with how it is. I'm just saying that's how it is. Women can be harsh with their standards and make fun of men for not having that standard, and then men, definitely, how men are. Men are definitely messed up whenever they critique women, body counts and all that stuff. None of that defines who you are as a person, of course not. But you also can't live life doing what you want or doing the bad things, and then now that you're a new person, expect people to just accept that and ignore what you did. That's not necessarily how that works. At least not from my opinion, or not my experience. I can have sympathy for their plight, and see that they're genuine in their turn of the leaf. But I'm still not. If it's not conducive to me, I'm just not gonna entertain dating a person who has certain things that they've done. That's just how I work. And there are people that are similar to me. With me though, I'm not gonna be mean about it. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna say, yeah, I'm not interested. But there are some that are gonna be more harsh.
See, I think
That's what it is.
preferences are important, Asif, but I think, for example, if I meet someone, I'm not interested in, how many people they've slept with, what's gone on in their life. Obviously, I'm curious and they want to share it from a talking perspective. Absolutely, not from a judging. So if someone told me they'd been married 4 times, I may raise an eyebrow and want to inquire more what happened. Just to get a little bit of understanding. Was it something they recognized that they were doing, or was it circumstantial? The other thing is, when it comes to previous partners, previous things, what difference is that going to make to me with this person? People say, oh, someone who's had, when you speak, there's not many men who'll say they've slept with less than 1,000 or less than 100 or less than 50. Most of them probably had multiple experiences. Now, by me asking him that question, I'm going to make a judgment. So he slept with 100 women, which means he's a flirt, or it means, sorry, I've just walked up a hill, or it means that, he's going to cheat on me. No, it doesn't mean any of that. It just means he's had 100 partners, and maybe those experiences were varied. So I can't prejudge. And he might be a really good man. He might be a really good fit for me. I'm going to judge him because he's been with 100 women. It just doesn't make sense to me. I understand there are some things, like, for example, what I would be interested in. Does he have a criminal history? If he's got a criminal background and he's, unalived someone, then I may choose to walk away. But if he told me he unalived someone because they did something to his child or his mother, those are different. Maybe I'd be like, okay, I get it. I totally get it. But if it's just like, I was intoxicated and I went and did. You see, everyone has explanations. And all I guess I'm saying is we judge too much. And if we're trying to find decent people, judge people by their character and who they are in the now. Otherwise, we're just making it even harder in a world where it's hard to find good souls. That's what I'm saying.
I definitely hear what you're saying. The problem is that, what people do out in the open, it might not be who they are in full, but you can get a pretty good idea of what kind of person they are by what they do. I mean, that's just kind of like, human nature. If I see someone, robbing an old lady, and then a year later, I see them and they want to be friends, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just saw you rob an old lady. I can't trust you. So you can kind of apply that logic to everything that people do, whether it's sleeping with 1,000 people or 5 people, There's like probabilities and statistics that you can make up in your head just by like what they're telling you. If a man says I slept with 100 women, in your head, you're going to run some tests, like in your head, like, oh, what is the probability of this guy being faithful? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of guys that, have 100 plus bodies who are, very faithful. You have a better chance having a guy that has less, maybe like 5 or 10, but you're taking a chance. You're taking a risk, so either way, to your point, could you be judging the wrong person? Like, let's say you judge a person that has 100 bodies. That person can be your soulmate. True, but you're also taking. It's a possibility, and people make those choices in their head every day.
Let me make sure I get other people in the conversation, okay? And we'll go back to that. I just want to answer the prompt that they can all join in. Zacchaeus, you there?
Hey, what's good, man? What's good, y'all? What's good, man?
What's going
Hey,
on?
what's the prompt, man? Just busy running around with the kids all the time, man. What's good?
Yeah, no
Hey,
problem. Continuing the conversation from the YouTube show Monday.
yeah.
Hold that thought 1 second. Hey, for the lady who joined the panel, you got a whole bunch of emblems and logos, so I don't know what to call you. You got
Person is fine.
call you what?
Person is fine.
So
I go
call
by
you
person.
person?
hmm
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
I'll get to you in just a second. Zacchaeus. So the
Hey.
question is, could you marry someone who's been divorced multiple times? Yes or no? I know there's context to it, but the question
I
is plain, and then you can get into the context right after. Go ahead.
I can't do it because if I'm walking as a disciple of the Lord, I can't do it. I can't marry them. Now, if I'm walking through the principles of the Word of God, because I know the principle of the Word of God talks about remarrying, and if I'm supposed to be walking with God, I can't do it. According to the scriptures, I can't do it. Some people do it. Even they got some believers that do it too. But it doesn't mean that it's in the will of God because they do it. But it's just, if you're gonna remarry somebody that been married multiple times, multiple times, then you gotta ask yourself, are you doing the right thing? Because see, the thing is that there's people that have past that you just can't let go of. Yes, God forgives, but there's people that hurt their spouses in the past and did a lot of things, rotten things, and now you're jumping into their life, and they might be a changed person, but you don't know. Everything is a risk, right? So you marry them, and a lot of question marks go up to why this person got married multiple times, multiple times, and sometimes you could be falling into the devil's pit. You could be falling into the devil's pit because there's many people that got remarried multiple times that said they made the biggest mistake of their life. Because whoever you marry could affect your whole entire life. Could probably dismantle your life, or it could be your demise. So you have to ask, when you're walking with God, you gotta ask God, if this is His will for your life, if you should marry that person or not. Most likely, because if you walk with the principle of the Word of God, the answer would be no. So I'm gonna land here and just say no, you should not. Because that's if you're walking with God. That's if you are. And I'm gonna land right there.
Okay, let me get the person. Person, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, you can go ahead and answer the prompt. Could you marry someone who's been divorced multiple times? Yes or no?
No. For me personally, it's a high indicator that there's something wrong there. Whether you want to say that the person is not the best at selecting future partners, right? If people want to say, well, it wasn't my fault, the other person wanted a divorce. Well, why do so many people want to divorce you, right? That's the question. Or if they're just hard to get along with, or things of that nature. There is a bit of accountability there that I think a lot of people want to dodge. It just means like their vetting process, it's a high indicator that there's something wrong. I may not know exactly what is wrong. It may be something as simple as they haven't found themselves yet, so they don't really know what they are looking for, right? But I do think there's a bit of an accountability factor there. And because I don't believe in divorces, once is like grace, right? Because like statistics says, like if you get married at a younger age, I think it's before the age of 30, you're more likely to get like divorced. So that's like kind of like, okay, that's like the human factor. But once we get into the 2, it's like, the 3, 4, 5, 6, it's like, I think maybe marriage may just not be for you, or you may need to like slow down and not jump to the altar as fast, right?
Yeah, I hear that. We got somebody else coming on the panel. Ad Hama. I don't know how to say it.
Adham, or
Adam.
Adam,
Okay.
whatever you want.
Okay, I'll call you Adam. I just didn't know how to read it.
No, that's
So
okay. No
yeah,
worries.
no problem, Adam. The prompt is: could you marry someone who's been divorced multiple times? Up here, just try your best not to curse. Use TikTok friendly language. Okay. What do you think?
Multiple times, I don't think so. I don't think so, no. To be honest.
Hey, how
If
many times is multiple to you? Like more than twice, more than 3? What are you thinking?
once, once if she did it, what like happened to her once, okay. But if like got married again and divorced the second time, no. You know.
Yeah.
It's not about like, listen, before I used to look for a virgin lady to marry everything, okay. Now I look, if a divorced woman, I will take a divorced woman. You know why? Because she knows the meaning of divorce, and when she's gonna enter a new life, she's gonna be careful to take care, he or she. I'm not talking about just women, there's some also men, talking about. So yeah, I'll marry a girl that got divorced once, but a couple of times, no, something is wrong. You know?
Okay. Okay. It's open panel. I think Dr. Love had a point that she was trying to answer to Beyonda. Hopefully she remembers it.
I don't know. I forgot what he said that I was going to make a point on, but it's gone. But what I will say is, we're looking at marriage, and I understand marriage is not the same as a long-term relationship, where in the UK we call it Commonwealth wife, which even though you're not married, you have the same benefits as a married couple, because less and less people are getting married nowadays. So for me, when I hear this question of should you marry someone who's had multiple partners, more than 2 marriages, and obviously there's a strong census towards no. For me, then it kind of alerts a question: would you date someone who's been in more than 2 relationships or 3
No.
relationships? So if the answer is no, fair enough. So you meet someone in their 40s or 30s, I don't know what ages you guys are, and they've had 3 relationships. Would you contemplate dating them? I'm curious. Or would you say no, they've been in 3 relationships, that's 3 too many, I'm not going there? It's just curious.
No dating, my friend.
Yeah, I don't really think that's a good analogy or comparison. A marriage, if someone, and that's even drives further harder into my point, if someone doesn't feel like marriage is a serious commitment and that it is equivalent to a girlfriend and boyfriend, and at any time I feel like I can leave, and they have that same sentiment towards marriage, that means our values isn't aligned, and we definitely should not be together. So I don't think that really disproves what I said. If anything, it kind of proves it even more.
No, you say gold talk. Excellent.
I think I hear what you're saying, but here's the premise though, right? Because obviously there's a difference between a marriage and a normal long-term relationship, because you have a ring maybe or a piece of paper that kind of joins assets. So the biggest difference is the assets in a marriage. The commitment, you will get people who've been in relationships for 20 years and they're not married, but they love each other. If they leave each other the same way when in a marriage they will leave each other, it's going to hurt the same. The difference is they may have to split assets. So it's a bit of a pain up the backside. But those people that want to leave will leave regardless of whether they're married or they're in a long-term relationship. And to back that up, you only have to look at the statistics. So that proves that marriages no longer hold that we are going to stay with you till death do us apart, no matter what the treatment is. So when the behavior in a relationship is toxic or not right for an individual and they leave that relationship, they will leave regardless of whether they're married or whether they're in a long-term relationship. Because I've spoken to many people who are in long-term relationships, they don't feel the need to be married. They already share a lot. They already love each other and they already do everything that a married couple is doing. The only difference is they don't have a piece of paper to show for it. They don't feel that a piece of paper validifies their love for each other. In some cultures, it's very different. So I'm talking about cross generally, not some cultures where marriage is the only way in and out. I'm talking about across the board. So I think there's merit in both. I hear what you're saying, but I think if someone's going to leave, they're going to leave eventually. And if it is to do with finances, then they will settle them in one way or another. But it doesn't stop someone nowadays to leave a marriage just because they're married.
I think the piece of paper you're talking about is protecting you, my friend. It's not just a piece of paper. It's protecting the woman. No? What do you think?
When you say protecting, I don't know what country you're from, but
Don't worry about. Listen.
Yeah, but in the
we've been
UK,
all around the world, ma'am. Don't. I'm in
yeah.
the UK right now. Yeah.
Okay.
But what I'm
So
telling you, let's say I'm your boyfriend, for example, or anybody's boyfriend, okay? And we got pissed off together, and I told you, get out. Yell on the street. What's
You
gonna
could
be?
even do that in a marriage, because yes, then
Ma'am,
you could.
please.
Let me
please
finish
hold me.
my
Please.
point, because
No,
I
I was talking before you, lady.
okay, then you finish and let me know when
Let
I
me
can
finish.
respond.
All right. So
Hey, let's be
I told you
mature.
to get out. Okay. Now let's say you are married. All right. And I said get out. Can I do that? Or are you gonna take half of my house? You're gonna take the children, maybe, this piece of paper is not gonna protect you. Take rights.
Do you want me to respond now?
Yes, go on.
Okay. If we're married and you tell me to get out and, go whatever, you may be able to do that. Yes, later on, I may go to the courts and say, well, listen, I am half the house, and then I have to go to court and spend maybe 15, 20, 30,000 pounds in court fees to try and get my entitlement. It doesn't stop people from behaving like a-holes. People are
Not
people.
about
They'll
behaving. We're
behave.
talking about the piece of
Now
paper.
you're
You're talking about
interrupting
it's a piece
me.
of paper.
Now you're
Hey,
interrupting me.
Adam, hold on. Let Dr. Love finish.
So the
Okay,
piece of
Dr. Go
paper
on.
that you talk about, the piece of paper then has to be taken through a whole court system. And it doesn't mean I'll get half of what your home is. There are rights and there are things that protect not just women, they protect men too. So the piece of paper is an equal thing depending on if you have children, the woman might get a bit more and so forth. It is a piece of paper that splits that. But I could be in a long-term 20-year relationship and my partner could say, get out. I would still leave with the kids if I had kids, because mothers often do go with the kids.
We talking about the piece of paper, ma'am.
I understand. So I've already
Does it
answered
protect you? Does it protect you? Yes or no? Does it get you your right? Whatever is your right.
It does, yes.
Okay. When you girlfriend, I told you go out. Can you get anything from me?
I could, yes.
How?
Okay, so even if we're not married, we have a common law relationship, which means that under the law that in the country that I live in, if I've been living with you for 2 years and longer, I have the same rights as if I was married.
I sold everything and I ran. What are you gonna do?
Then if you sold everything and you ran, then I'll let the system find you.
Where do you find it? I'm not here.
Oh, they'll find you.
They won't.
They will, because you'll claim somewhere, you'll make a purchase somewhere.
They're just gonna forget about your case. That's gonna.
You're just playing cat and rock. The
I'm
basis
not playing.
is,
I'm giving you facts.
yeah,
I'm not
well,
playing.
if you sell everything and
You just don't want to
like
sound
I
mistake.
said,
No, you don't want to sound mistake. That's what you're trying to defend.
no. I agree.
Marriage
I
is
agreed with you.
excellent. It defends women's protection. Nobody can come near you when you have a man. If you have a real man. Okay?
I'm gonna agree
You're
to
feminist.
disagree.
You're feminist, right? Are you
Listen,
feminist?
if I'm feminist, then you're not man enough to be
You
here talking to me.
sound like
You feel
it.
threatened because I'm
No,
responding
threatened
back
from
to
what?
you.
Threatened from what?
You clearly haven't had women that
Threatened,
talk back.
ma'am. You said I feel threatened from what?
Because I'm responding back. So you do the classic thing because I'm responding
No,
back.
you just
All of a sudden
covering
now
up your
I'm a
weakness
feminist.
there,
Hey,
doctor.
yo,
That's what you're doing.
Adam.
Thank you very
man.
much.
Adam, chill,
Adam,
man.
have a good day, and thank you, Fifth. I've got to get driving anyway. I've said what I need. No.
Doctor,
I can't be dealing with people with small mentalities and who can't converse.
Small mentality in your country,
Yes,
a
sir,
millionaire
you most
taking over.
certainly are. Have a good day. I'm going, Fifth. Take care.
Jesus Christ.
Well, that was interesting. One thing I wanted to point out, I understand she's in the UK, but as it relates to US statistics, regular relationships last shorter time span than marriages do. I believe the stats was the average relationship was about 18 months when surveyed, compared to a marriage, the average divorce happened around 8 years. So just by that indicator alone, there is some form of more long-term commitment when someone enters a marriage, rather than just like a girlfriend boyfriend type of situation. But she's no longer here, so yeah.
Man, if she just would have stayed another second, I would have just told her I just got rid of the guy. So, oh man. She's done this several times. I tried to catch her this time, before she left. So, this is TikTok. I know it's kind of like the Wild Wild West up here sometimes.
Yeah, it
People just
is.
pull up. And Bianna, this is why I do the YouTube show as well, because it's like I can better control the environment over there, because it's invite only in terms of like who could be on the panel. But I mean, he had an axe to grind with the likings of a Dr. Love. I kind of was starting to see that later on.
I
That's
could
why
tell
I'm telling
though.
you,
I
chill.
could tell from his intro. I already knew that he was gonna be on some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I was trying to say, because I like to kind of just let people, once they fill up the panel, I don't like to do a whole bunch of speaking. I like to kind of come in every now and then, control the hosting duties of the stream. But I was really trying to just get to Dr. Love's question about someone who's been in long-term relationships and who has is that judged from marriages and divorces. I would tell her that that's judged too. So I've known many men and women who've been in relationships that were probably like 5 to 10 years, at several times in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, right? And then
Yep.
that gets judged too, because somebody would say, "Yo, why would you be with someone for 10 years, no ring? Be with another person for 10 years, no ring? Be with another person for 10 years, no ring?" So that should kind of speak to something, and that gets judged as well. Does it get
That's
judged
the
the
thing,
same?
though. That's the thing about that word, judge. Like, it's because
Yeah,
like if I choose not to go with old girl because she did X Y Z,
yeah,
I'm not being judgy. I'm protecting my peace.
yeah,
Like not everyone's entitled to have my time and effort for them.
yeah,
Doesn't mean that I'm judging them. It just means that I'm being careful about who I have in my life because there's about 8 billion people in the world. I can't have 8 billion friends. I can only
yeah,
have like maybe a few, like five. You know, 5 to 7 probably. Real. I talk about real friends though, because people will prove time and time again that they're not real friends. So when they prove to not be real friends, when you grow up, you realize, hey, listen, not everyone can be your friend, and not everyone can be your girlfriend or boyfriend. You choose one person, and that one person you have to be with, you have to make sure that they're going to be in it for the long haul. So if that person doesn't have the characteristics and traits that don't match what you want, then how is that being judged? Doesn't make any sense.
yeah. But then I also want to put this in, right, and I'm gonna let a person go, and that is this: whatever your life was, also kind of will play in a role in how you treat someone. So if you've been married and divorced multiple times as well, yeah, I can understand why it shouldn't be no pot calling the kettle black,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But that's the context that was left out, and I wanted to make sure that was there. Now, someone who's never been married, I think they still can ask for someone who's never been married. Someone who's never had kids before can still ask for someone who's never had kids.
Yeah, it's not being judgy. It's just
Yeah,
being
it's
particular
not.
what you want.
Right. Now, if you're someone who's been uh married and divorced before, yeah, you can't now say I don't want to be with somebody. Well, you've been divorced too. So it kind of comes off hypocritical.
Yeah.
So let me give it back to person. Go ahead. You have something to say, Miss Person?
Yes. So, my mom, the wise woman that she always told me, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to listen twice as much as you speak. And the reason I say that is from a young age, I was taught to be very observant. And this isn't a diss to anybody, this is strictly an observation. The kind of person she wants other people to be towards other human is not the person she is herself. And I say that because I noticed on multiple occasions, even when she was talking about, oh, my son lives at home, and she doesn't want her son to be judged. But in turn, speaking about the ladies that may judge her son, she called them a drama queen. So name calling, right? And she did that again, like she called Adam, I can't remember his name, but she called him small minded. So the behaviors that she is advocating other people not to do, she literally does that. Like she did it on this panel. And I think that's the issue I have when people are advocating for things. They're not aware that a lot of times the reason they're advocating for it is because it's in their benefit, right? They don't want to be judged. They don't want to be looked at a certain way. They don't want to take accountability. Because if you look at them and they look nothing like what they're advocating for, it's a high indicator, again, that they're not doing this with pure intention. It is for an ulterior motive. And I think that every decision a human makes and everything that they do can lead you to like a characteristics where you can look at that person and say, I can either align with their values and morals or I can't. And I just think life is as simple as that, to be honest.
It's pretty spot on about her, so I'm not gonna lie. She's not wrong.
No, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong at all.
Yeah. Well, but you know me, man. I welcome a difference of opinion. I don't. This is not an echo
Oh
chamber
yeah, for
show.
sure. I mean, like
So
that's her love,
yeah,
like shout out to her and whatnot. But like,
yeah,
she like in the beginning when we were talking about this stuff, I didn't necessarily have like disagreement with her, but she was leaning more towards like, oh, let bygones be bygones, don't judge people, blah blah blah. That's not how life works though, like everyone judges, even she does. Everyone judges to some degree, whether it's quiet or out loud. You don't sometimes you don't even know that you're judging. So it's just
yeah,
kind of like human nature. You just do it naturally.
yeah, yeah.
Now
And
when you when you
I
have the
was,
choice,
mhm.
obviously you don't want to do that.
Yeah, and I was trying to get to that because um the 50-50 talk drives women crazy, right? So wouldn't that be judging?
Well, yeah,
So don't so
exactly.
so
But the
so
problem with that is, what's funny
yeah.
about that, Phil? Actually, go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was saying, so don't judge me because I've been married and divorced multiple times, but judge me because I want to go 50-50 on the bills.
All right.
I'm just saying that,
Oh, you're right. I was gonna say, yeah.
we make a
Yep.
we make a compromise for one, but not the other. When wouldn't the other one be more? I mean, what's more harmful? And that's why I said earlier, it's about what you deemed is to the judgment scale higher than others. So maybe that one may be on the lower end for someone, but then on the 50-50 one, that's like top three. Oh no, I can't do that.
Person is funny for that. That's funny. I was gonna say, like, a lot of times, I'm not gonna put all women in the same category, but many modern day women do this, right? Is they'll complain about 50-50 and say, oh, the man needs me on the money, but then they're not even qualified for that. You know what I'm saying? They be average, you know? And so I think, like, I'm not saying that, like, okay, I'll put it to you like this, right? Back then, people used to have a pretty good idea of where they stood in terms of, like, looks. It wasn't like that. It wasn't that they had low self-esteem. It's just that they knew that, okay, my looks are about, like a 5 or a 6. So it wouldn't be for me to really aim for a 10 because I don't qualify for that. It's not pessimistic. It's being realistic. You know what I'm saying? It's like for me, if I'm a fat slob, I'm playing games all day in the basement. I can't be serious and say, oh, I deserve Halle Berry. That doesn't make any sense. We have to be a little bit, rooted in reality when we're talking about what we are going for. So I feel like that's where women kind of like fall into is the fact that because they have so many options and because they might have gotten exposed to, a man of status here and there, whatever, that they think that they can get that man now. But it's like, no. Like at the end of the day, like, yeah, you might have been mistress of old boy, but he's still married to old girl. And you're just the mistress. Hey, they don't get it. You know what I'm saying? So like that's kind
Yeah,
of like, it's just a tale all the time. Like, look, what did Adam and Eve have, right? They had the option to choose between good and evil. And they chose evil because the option was presented to them, right? When we have too many options, or when we're bombarded with options, we get oversaturated and whatnot. The value of said options starts to go down, you know, or we don't appreciate what we had. A girl from Iowa, middle of nowhere, right? Could have appreciated a Bob from down the street. But because she has IG, social media, right? Able to go online, talk to NLE Chopper. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow, the world is so much different. The world is so much bigger. Wow, I can talk to NLE Chopper and Lil Tecca. Wow, this is crazy. So she starts to go out and get those options. But the thing is, like, those men are gonna take her serious.
Yeah.
And they don't get that. They don't get it.
NLE
They don't get
Chopper,
oh,
Blueface.
that is exactly, yeah. No. I wasn't saying. Listen, I'm saying that like there are guys, person. There are guys that, or I'll take an analogy of like a guy like who isn't doing anything
I was
productive
being
as far as like
facetious. I was being
in
facetious.
the.
She
I
was
was being
being
facetious.
facetious. She knows what
Oh,
you
okay.
mean.
I was,
Yeah,
For sure. I play games.
yeah.
I play games too. I'm a gamer too. I get it. I love games, you know. But if I wasn't taking care of business, then
Right.
you
That's
know, I
that's what
couldn't.
makes it bad. That what
And
would make it
I
bad?
can't say that.
No, you're right. What would make it bad is if you play like I think if you are a responsible adult, you have a roof over your head, you paying bills, you never missed a payment, you got good credit, play your video games. Leave that man alone. You know? But it's one thing that's not a slob. A slob is, you freeloading off of everybody. Everybody. You don't even want to work. You don't
Yeah.
even want to do anything. You don't even want to barely even bathe yourself. That would be a slob. Absolutely. And you could be a TV slob.
I'll take
The video games is just a point you
that.
made, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll put myself on the top of the block, right? So for me, right, I
Yeah.
have a lot of bold prayers that I ask God for, right? But I can't necessarily get them because I still have bad choices that I make in my daily life where, I know that God's not gonna give me what I want because it's not gonna do me any better. It's gonna actually me worse off, what I want. So I have discipline and go to him for, and go to him in humbleness and pray and be consistent and persistent in what I do. I can't just sit here and say, "Oh God, please, I want all this and all this," but I haven't proven that I can handle it. You know. So yeah, I'm in that spot right now where I'm asking for things, but I'm not getting them necessarily because I know that I'm not mature enough to handle it. Even though I have a job and I'm getting married in December and whatnot, there's still a lot of things that I'm not prepared for. I have to prepare myself by being productive and being, holding myself accountable. Also having friends in my life that love me that will also hold me accountable for my actions. But then there are people out there that don't want to change. And change is hard. Thank you,
Yeah.
Tracy. Change is very hard. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily like it because change hurts. When you change that sleep schedule or you start going to the gym, it's gonna suck. But you have to
Yeah.
be consistent, and that's where I struggle was like being consistent and like actually like sticking to the plan rather than have a bump on the road and not just stop altogether. That's a thing that most people, including myself, have a problem with is like staying the distance or going the distance and like just going through it no matter what. People quit, so that's kind of the problem. I think people. It's easier to quit now. Easier to quit. Back then, quitting meant death. If you quit, you weren't
Yeah.
getting nothing. A house, a wife, a handshake, nothing. you know. But nowadays, quitting is like, oh, you can quit and you'll be fine. You're not a loser, blah blah blah. And then behind your back, they call you a loser. So that's what it is.
Absolutely.
to be honest with you, it's no shade to your prompt host. The only reason I came up was because Jinso was on the panel. But a lot of these conversations on TikTok, I don't even like to participate in them anymore because what I've observed, it's a bunch of single miserable people telling other single people what to do. And I'm like, this is counterproductive. Can we get happily married people like participating in these conversations? But again, a lot of happily married people, they don't welcome certain energies into their homes, right? So like if it's chaotic, which is what it did, like misery loves company, like, and again, not too much on that lady doctor or whatever her name is, but the conversation wasn't she did a lot of deflection, right? The conversation is about marriage and divorce rates and things like that. She brought in smacks, she brought in girlfriend boyfriend, she brought in her son living at home. It's like we're talking about everything besides like the conversation. I think if we're able to really get a wider demographic of people from all walks of life, and we're able to have respectful conversations. So I may not necessarily agree with what you're saying, right? And you may not necessarily agree with what I'm saying, but we have enough respect for each other and we come to the table trying to understand one another. And we have that curiosity, right? To ask like, okay, this is what I heard you say and this is what I understood. Is that what you meant, right? I think a lot of times when we speak from a perspective of you said this or whatever, when it's like maybe that's not what they said, maybe that's what you heard, and what you hear and what was said may not always be the same things. And so like when you have a lot of chaotic environments, especially if it's overwhelming chaos, I've noticed that like happily married people, they don't stay in that because they're well aware that energy transfer is a thing, and now they get frustrated and stressed out. They're likely to go take that stress and frustration to their spouse, and their spouse, even though they may like listen and want to be there for them, after the conversation is over, they're going to ask them a real question like, so this is what you chose to spend your day doing, like argue with people on TikTok, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I definitely do think like these conversations are important. I just feel like, oh, he has his hand raised. I just feel like I don't know how, but I do kind of feel like we need a broader demographic of people that are willing to come to the table with curiosity rather than with, I need to be right kind of mentality for it to be productive. And I land my plane.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Beyonda go, but person, I'm gonna respond to you. Okay, go ahead, Beyonda.
I think everything she said is 100% correct. I agree completely. I think the issue is that the people who should be talking aren't talking. That's kind of like the dilemma of the country. People who should be in office, people who should be, doing what they gotta do to make the country better aren't stepping up. And then we're leaving it to the people who, don't know anything, but are quick to, like give advice when then they can't even give it to themselves, right? Um, People don't care about telling the truth; they care about being first, right? I mean, we had that example, last month, 2 months ago, about Megan Stallion and Klay Thompson,
Yes, sir.
right? Where, she was the first one to get online and everyone was easy to get behind her and say, oh, yeah, he's a whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you find out, like, oh, and there's some other things going on, So there's always context to it, right? That's a gift and curse of social media, is that social media allows us to, that's the thing. People who shouldn't even be talking, people who are diabolical in nature are on camera saying all kind of stuff, It's against some money. Up that whole can of worms when we had the availability of social media, Facebook, MySpace back then, community, all the community right. That's kind of like from saying you make it seem like they're the community, but at the same time and make money off of it and beef,
Yeah, so person, thanks for coming on Do the Genzo, right? Now I do new topics every week. I'm someone who content creates very avidly. I do it on YouTube primarily, but I come here, right? I started doing lives on here since January, weekly. Okay. I've had many topics. They've gone many different ways. The difference between me and other people is that I do want a positive ending. I'm not about the back and forth stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm trying to lead a community of dignified people who are willing to come on here, even if the topic is difficult. But to come on here and have civilized conversations, there may be tension, there may be some things that may get a little heated, but as long as you're respecting each other, you know. So I definitely do that. And dating topics are, you know, they could definitely trigger a lot of people because of the current climate of what's going on. But this is what I feel. I feel that that these conversations still have to happen, but it's about who conducts them, who controls the room, who comes in, who will have the particular results of what will happen. The good thing is that I do actually have married people, people of even and non-married people of understanding and objectivity that are able to talk about my topics without getting outside of their body and getting in their feelings. Sometimes I'll say some people are just having a bad day. So for the people who come on here regularly, and maybe one day they might have a certain way, I'm gonna go ahead and write that off because hey, you never know what people are going through, you know. But for the most part, there are people who come on here, my regulars who've come on here. They're just not here today, but they've come on here. They've been quite, you know, they try to be pretty fair, you know. And then I have people on here who say things to be provocative. It is what it is. But as long as they respect each other, this is not an echo chamber panel. I do welcome a difference of opinion. But like I said, as long as it's respected, I like mature conversations, mature people. And this topic today is a topic because it is a continuation of my YouTube show that's every Monday night. And that topic was how many marriages, how many divorces before you find out that you are the problem. So this is basically like a continuation. I wanted to bring this conversation to the TikTok audience. But I definitely do new topics every day. I know there's people on here who do the same topic almost every day for like 6 months. I don't know how they do it. God bless them. But me, I come up with new topics, fresh perspectives weekly. Go ahead, Beyond. You got a question? I know a person
Yeah,
wanted to.
I got a question for a person actually. This is me being curious. So you were talking about how people we should have people who are qualified talking about it, but it's kind of hard to gauge who would be qualified. You know,
You're breaking up for me. I don't know if it's just me, but you're kind of breaking up.
It's him. It's him.
talk about.
He's on the road. He's on the road, so he's driving through terrain. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Beyond, and try to talk again. It's choppy. It's a bit choppy.
Question: who
Let me try this for Beyonda. So person Beyonda was saying that on TikTok it's pretty hard to kind of gauge who's qualified. And I know what he's saying because people could just pull up on here. It's very different from like pre-planned panels.
Pre-planned panels. Did you go out too? Is it me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I left off at pre-planned panels.
No, I was saying that Beyonda is making a point that when it comes to TikTok, that it's kind of hard to engage who's qualified because on here people could just pop up and pull up as opposed to pre-planned panelists. That's what he was trying to say before his phone was cutting off.
Yes, I heard that part, but I didn't know like what his question was.
Because his audio's choppy. Beyond, are you there? Beyond, dang. Well, Well, when he comes back, I'm gonna let him ask you a question. But did you have anything to respond to me when I was talking about how I run my panels on here?
Oh yeah. That's respectable and I respect it.
Yeah.
I do think again, like you can't control people, right? And it's just gonna like take time to like get a committed groups of people like that, which is understandable and that's fine. I was just saying as a whole to like these types of prompts or panels because when I started on TikTok, I started like um more in this realm, I guess you should say. Can't tell you how many times I got called a pick me. So much so that I started, I may be a pick me, but you're a skip me. You're never picked. So I get it, but I just found that a lot of them are counterproductive. But I do wish you well and many success that you are able to create that space that people from all walks of life can come to the table and have discussions. Again, anger is not the problem. Emotions are not the problem. You're going to have them. We're all human. It's what you do with them that's the problem, right? It's okay for people to be angry. It's not okay for people to punch holes in walls, right? It's okay for people to be angry. It's not okay for you to yell at another person. It's okay for you to be angry, but how you treat somebody in response to that anger, that is not okay. And I do think that social media has lowered people's impulse control. They can't wait a whole minute. All it takes is for them to hear one fragment of a statement, not a complete thought, just a fragment of a statement that they disagreed with. Now all of a sudden it's World War III. But I do, again, I wish you many success.
Thank you. And I get what you're saying because when I first I started to make lives on here because I wanted to make a difference because there's a lot of people on here who have topics up here and it's fine, but I don't see any decorum. Like there's a lack of decorum on a lot of TikTok lives. People just scream over each other, over talk. It's insane. I don't like that. This is why I don't go on people's lives because I don't think they're going to have the same set of standards and rules and conduct that I'm going to have for my life. So there's a lot of people that have lives that may have interesting topics, but it's World War III every time you go over there. And I think it hurts the audience. I come from a broadcasting background of broadcasting. So I understand that the audience needs to hear you. You hurt the quality of the show and the integrity of the platform if you don't keep one mic at a time, at least one mic at a time. Don't throw any ad hominems at people. Once you do that, you lost the debate. It's okay to have a debate. I'm not scared of that. It's okay to have a debate. It's okay to be challenged. But we're adults up here. We're not kids. So there has to be at least decorum. There's just so much. It's insane on here. Sometimes I wonder why I'm even on here. But I've met some good people here. Even with that said, for my time of doing lives on here, because I only started them in January. Before that, I didn't interact with people on TikTok. I just posted clips from my podcast on here to promote it, but I never interacted with people until earlier this year. So with that said, I've still met some decent people up here. I still believe that there are good people on this platform, but I think that's a minority. But shout outs to me finding that. Like the brother who was just up here, Beyonder, he's a good brother. He's been on my lives since the beginning, and then we become friends, So then he also comes on my on camera Monday panel show on YouTube. There's an example right there. You meet some good people. And then there's people outside of TikTok that I know that come on here and contribute to what I do because they're my friend, you know. I have a friendship with them. So, but I don't know. I still think it's the wild, wild west up here. But you're right. There's a lack of decorum. There's a lack of patience. I get it.
Oh, my patience is low. I snap at people all the time on my panel. I'm not gonna hold you. I do. I yell at them all the time, and I say, "I'm not babysitting grown adults today." Boop, drop. Because yeah, a lot of people on TikTok they do want chaos. A lot of people in real life, people, period. Because we have to remember that. Yes, people are like, oh, they would never say this in real life. They would never say it in real life. But trust me, if they felt like their actions didn't have consequences, they absolutely would. I think a lot of times people take away from the fact that this person that's on TikTok still exists in the real life, right? If anything, they just more so wear a mask in real life to mask their true emotions and their true feelings. And when they get on TikTok, they kind of feel like, oh, I have some form of anonymity, so I can be chaotic, I can be verbally abusive, I can be this ball of negative energy. But at the end of the day, these same people on TikTok are still people in real lives. It's just that they don't vocalize their thoughts as much because there are much larger repercussions. Like, you know what I mean? Like you say the wrong thing to people in real life, you may not make it home. Like that's the world we live in. So yeah, but I do think like a lot of people are struggling with internal peace, and everything is a threat to their self of identity and self. And so like they hear something they don't agree with, and all of a sudden it is World War III, because now I'm losing who I believe myself to be. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying. I don't think you could just run your mouth. You know, I also do in-person content creation as well. So I definitely don't. Well, first of all, that's not my character anyway. I don't just pop off at people, right, and get disrespectful and talk to people disrespectfully. But let's just say I did. I'm taking a risk because somebody could run up on me while I'm doing an interview in on the street or at a restaurant, you know? So I definitely don't move like that. But there are people who do move like that, you know? So there's consequences, man. I got street smarts, especially where I'm from. I know how things can go. So, yeah. So I'm not talking like I'm some big famous person, but I can be. But if somebody has studied me, they can recognize me because I'm public. I'm very public. So, you know, if they, oh, that's Fifth, you know, but it ain't gonna be because I ran my mouth. You know, it is what it is.
Okay, well, Vontice can't come up, but Vontice, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, love. I apologize if I'm not. But she says, hi, my answer is absolutely not. More than likely, he's the problem. What do you feel about that?
Well, she's from a perspective of her meeting a man. I think it's a fair assessment because, you know, but there's context. There's context, but some people don't get to the context, like I mentioned earlier. The moment you say you've been divorced twice, they don't want to hear why. You know? Now, there's some that will say you've been divorced twice. Well, why? Once you get the why, then you know exactly why they got divorced. You know? Widow, you know? People perhaps pass away, sadly. You know, should that disqualify you? You know?
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, I apologize.
No, that's okay. I was just making a point that, you know, should widows be disqualified from being married again because they've been widowed? You know, if you've been cheated on, you know, should you be disqualified? You've been cheated on. Should you be disqualified if you've been cheated on? You know, so there's many reasons for divorce. Let me pull up life of Yana. How you doing, Yana?
I'm doing good in yourself.
Good, good. Hey, you're new to my panel. I just like to just explain the rules. No cursing. Use
Hmm.
TikTok friendly language, okay? Um,
Absolutely.
so the prompt is: could you marry someone who's been divorced multiple times? Yes or no?
Um, you better have a real good reason, and then I'm questioning you and I'm kind of side eyeing you. Okay, the widow situation, that's absolutely understandable because I lost my children's father and we weren't married, but I did have to start over after being with someone for so long. So I definitely can relate and understand that. So absolutely. If you were cheated on, yes, but like I said, I'm kind of side eyeing you because did the cheating just begin when you guys got married? Was it happening before? Why did you marry someone if you know that they're not loyal? Were you cheating too? Why were they cheating? Like, I have a lot of questions on that. But like I said, I'm willing to hear a person out because I get it. Life happens and stuff happens, but you better have a real good reason and explanation for that.
So, uh, Von Teese in the comments, yeah, she's right. Widow doesn't count as a divorce. I get it, but you've been married multiple times. Well, it will fall in. I've been married before, but I get it. It's not a divorce. You're exactly right, Von Teese. Let's say cheated, right? Now,
Mhm.
some people believe once a cheater, always a cheater. What if you got a divorce because you're the one that cheated? Should you be disqualified from being married again? You're not still
Um,
cheating, but you're someone who, because I know men and women who have cheated in their marriage and they've got a divorce and they're married again and they haven't cheated again. They haven't cheated
um,
again. You know, so it's all about the do you think people could change things as well? What do you think?
I can't relate. Me personally, I've never cheated on anyone a day in my life. My current partner that I'm with right now, though, we've been together, going strong for a year. We're very open and honest with each other. And I'm 24, he's 25. So he's like I said, very open and honest with each other. He's told me that he's like never really been like in a serious relationship before outside of me. Like I was the first girl that he took serious. So he was out here just, living his best life and doing him. But the person that he is today, he's never cheated on me. Like I said, we're very open and honest with each other. I don't even feel like I don't have like any trust issues or I don't sense like that vibe or get any like bad vibes or energy from him as far as like that. Like I've never like caught him texting another female or just doing stuff that he know that I wouldn't approve of or allow. So yes, I do think that people can change. I feel like just because um how do I say this? I feel like, different people can bring out different, yeah, I feel like different females or even different men can bring out different sides of certain people. So just because he treated you bad, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's gonna treat me bad because we're not the same person. Respectfully, I'm not you and you're not me. So
I think while I can agree with that statement, I also think that them cheating proves that they have that capacity. And the sheer fact that they possess that capacity, it's a pass for me. Because given the right situation and the right circumstances, that is still within them, right? And the risk is too high. It would be a pass for me.
I think everybody has the potential. Listen, I'm gonna just say this real quick. Everyone, it doesn't mean they do it. When I say this, everyone has the potential to cheat.
I disagree, but I'd like to hear why you believe that.
Okay, so cheating is a decision, right? Would you agree with that part? We're going to break it down slowly.
Yes, cheating is a decision, correct. I agree.
Okay. Right. Cheating on a decision and then the access to cheating. Now, everybody may not have the access to cheat, but just a little bit of access to cheat. If you act on it, that's you acting on the access that is coming to you. For instance, if there are suitors always trying to come to you, you're in a relationship, but you got all this temptation out here, right? You don't act on the temptation, but a lot of temptation is coming your way. The moment you act on that temptation, that's where you have cheated. So the reason why I said potential is because temptation is everywhere, right? Even just beyond the relationship part, you could be tempted to lie. We know cheating is lying, right? So I believe everybody has to, not saying that they would act on it, but depending on your level of access, some higher than others, everyone has the potential to cheat. Doesn't mean that you act on it, but I believe that everyone can, sadly, has the potential to cheat. Oh, I could be wrong. Go ahead.
The potential to cheat in the way you explain it, I would agree with you. But when I say capacity, what I mean is that they have a high chance or high risk if the conditions are optimal to act on it. And if they've already shown that they do, we already have one case where, again, it heightens the risk that you will indulge in that if certain conditions are right.
So I would use the word propensity. So if you're someone who has cheated multiple times, yeah, you definitely have, it would be led to believe that you had the propensity to definitely cheat again because you're someone who's a repeat offender. The capacity, no, I don't believe everyone has the capacity, no. If that's the word, no. That's why I said potential. If anybody else wants to go. I thought I saw somebody come on mute for a second. Go ahead, Beyonda.
I'm making sure that you can hear me.
I hear you, brother.
All right.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Well, wait, what was the kind of a weird conversation? What was the
Well, okay. So
in regard to cheating?
when Yana came up, I asked her the prompt. She answered it, right? And then
Yep.
Vontice in the comments made questions about reasons for divorce. Well, she talked about divorce. I mentioned reasons for the divorce, and I mentioned that within the context, if you got a divorce because you've been cheated on, do we write that person off? They're the ones that been cheated off. They filed, but they've been cheated on. Do we now hold them? Do we put their feet to the fire? I don't think we should because they're the ones that got cheated on. Then I asked, well, hey, what if you're the one that cheated? You're the one that cheated. You don't want to cheat again, but you're the cause for the one who cheated. And the reason why I put that phrase in is because you know how many remarried people I know that cheated? I know most of the people that I know that are remarried, they cheated. Their first marriage ended. Well, not all of them, but a good portion of them, right? They cheated. They ended their marriage. They got remarried. They're on their second wife, but they're not cheating again, So I was like, I asked her, does she believe anyone can? I asked Yana, does she believe anyone can change? And we got to that part of the topic.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. And person was saying if you're someone who's been a cheater, then that's risky because who's to say you won't do it again? We feel like the capacity that you may have is a little higher for someone who was cheated in the before, as opposed to someone who has never cheated. I pose the argument that everyone, well, maybe I'm wrong about saying everyone, but a lot of people, if not everyone, most people may have potential to cheat, but that doesn't mean that they act on it. And then I talked about the access. Some people's access
Yeah.
is a little different than others. If you got a lot of people coming your way, you know, then that temptation, you may fall to it, you may not. Shout outs to those who don't fall to it, because you have single people who don't fall to temptation.
It's kind of like saying, like, let's say that I live in like a third world country
Uh huh.
and all I have is apples.
Yep.
And I'll say I'll never eat an orange. I never will, but then I get oranges and I'll start eating oranges. Or at
Yeah.
least I'll consider eating oranges. That's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, that's a
Okay.
more simpler term, but yeah. Yeah. Or the access to gambling.
Yeah.
Some people live, like I live in Houston, but some
To
people
it,
live
yeah.
in Vegas.
Exactly.
Okay. So there's more access to gamble in Vegas, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're gonna
Yeah.
gamble. Does everybody who's from and live in Vegas gamble? No, I don't believe so. But their
No.
access to gambling is high because it's everywhere.
Yeah. Everywhere.
So
So
I
that's
guess,
Yep.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's a fair point.
Now go ahead, person.
No, so this is gonna take us off topic for a little bit, but since you said that, I do want to know your stance on this. Unless Better or Beyond, did you want to respond to what he said? Because mine is gonna be off topic. So if you wanted to respond to what he said, you should probably go first.
No, you're good.
Okay, thank you. So how do you feel then? Because this is a topic that comes up a lot. How do you feel then about the people that are like, you should grow with them? First of all, I don't believe in struggle love. All the people that romanticize it, more power to you. I don't believe in struggle love. But
I need you. Can I cut in real quick? I need you to define that, because since I've been on TikTok and since I've been on the internet for such a long time, I've been on the internet for a long time, since 2008. I have heard struggle love, and everybody has a different definition. Can you define that for me, please, before we go into it? It'll help me understand you.
oh yes, a struggle love. So like you meet a man and he has like nothing going for himself, like nothing, right? And they're like, oh, but you're a woman, you're supposed to like multiply, which I do agree with, but you have to have something to multiply. And you basically like you work together, you struggle through those hardships, and then eventually, not always, but some of the times, you reach success and prosperity, right? And I think that a lot of people romanticize that journey, but when you look at like the statistics and the studies, again, it goes back to that access. So while a person is in the position of lack, right, they don't have as access to as many people as when they're more successful, and now all of a sudden the people they wouldn't have access to, right, in this particular situation, because I'm a woman, so I'm speaking from the woman perspective, they have access to a lot prettier women, a lot younger women, a combination thereof, maybe even women that are pretty younger and more wealthy or successful or whatever. And now that they have the option to choose who they really want, statistically, that is what ends up happening. So what's your take on that kind of scenario? Because you did say, some people may not have the access. So what's your take on women dating a guy that doesn't have access to a lot of things because of an unpleasant financial situation?
All right. So, you know what's interesting? I'm going to answer the question, but you know what's interesting about women and who they date? A lot of women like who they like, regardless of what he got going on in that bank account. You know how I know? Just look at the women who, just look at the women who have children, and then look at the men they're having children with. Okay? So we just gonna call a spade a spade. But here's the thing about this world, right? In most situations, you're going to be someone that you're gonna build with anyway. Everybody's not at the finish line. Let's talk about the men at the finish line, since you brought up the men, right? I'm gonna get to the women in a second. A lot of women, in a delusional way, think that they could just sit at the finish line and whoever who crosses it first that they're going to get. Until those women look to their right and look to their left and see maybe about 1 million women. Who's going to win that, man? Okay? So, I'm not saying that you should be with a man who is poor. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you should be with a man who's lazy. I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying you should not be with a man without a vision. I'm not saying that. But here's what I want to say about the women. For the women, you better be yourself someone who is someone of good character, honor, integrity. The things that you're looking for in a man, because I never hear the character brought up. Everybody talks about, what the man has in his wallet, but they never talk about what he's about. You know what I'm saying? How he treats his family, how he treats himself, how he treats others, how he treats strangers. They just automatically go to the bank account. So I understand the struggle of, but you could be with a man who got money, right? Or at least a decent amount of money, and he's not a good man. He's not respectful. He's not honorable. He doesn't, he's not someone that people admire. I mean, which one do you want to be with? Go ahead, person. You said that wasn't the question. It's possible.
That
Go
was
ahead.
not a question, but I do appreciate that. And I agree with you, to be someone that a man that has worked hard to build himself, not just financially, but of certain level of self-control. You are going to have to be a woman of value as well, right? So I do agree with that, but that wasn't my question. It was more so geared towards, again, we were talking about the access to cheating. And I agree with you in this terms that women are people, not just women, men too, people are going to like who they like anyway, regardless of what's going on financially. I get that. But in terms of access, generally for a man, right? Maybe not anymore today because, everybody want to be hot girl summer, but let's just keep on track. Generally, if a man doesn't have a lot going for himself in his personal life, it does limit and restrict his access to women and his selection and the access and ability to cheat, right? Versus the more successful he is, he has a greater access and things of that nature. So what would you say about women dating a guy when he is, and it couldn't even just be finances. Let's take the finances out of it. Let's say he's a bit overweight and he's not that attractive. So he doesn't have access to a lot of women because not a lot of women want him, right? Versus like he goes to the gym, bulks up, instead of fat, now it's muscle, and now like he's more attractive, like his face is a little bit more chiseled. Like what I guess the whole question is, what do you say to women dating men that don't have access to be able to cheat? Because essentially they won't be able to gauge accurately if that person has the propensity to cheat or not, because they've not had access to it. We don't know what they're going to do with something they've not had access to. So that was more so my question.
Well, I would say that everyone has access to cheat in some degree, but it's going to be the level of women. So, for instance, a guy who is of a higher tier financially and even on the look scale, right? He has higher access to cheat with women who are 8s, 9s, and 10s versus the guy who you mentioned earlier who may be overweight or whatever and may not be as desired as the man who is, 6 foot whatever and who has, a lot of money in the bank. He's just going to cheat with women who are at that scale. So if he's a 5, then he has potential to cheat with women who are 3s, 4s, and 5s. He can still cheat, but the only difference is he's cheating with women who's, are going to be deemed less attractive, can still cheat, but the other guy, he's going to be able to cheat with women who are more attractive. I'm not going to be disingenuous here and also say that the man who has the ability to cheat with 8, 9s, and 10s is not going to have more thrown at him. Of course, he's going to have more thrown at him. He's more desired, right? But I think women who want to be with these men, a lot of women will tell me they don't want to be with a man that nobody wants. Hey, that's the logic that some women are telling me, right? Okay, so then just know that you have competition. You have competition even in the relationship or marriage. The competition doesn't stop. I'm not giving a pass and saying the man should act on it. And I'm not saying that women should live in fear, but I think women need to understand if you want him, and know that other women want him too, right? And what kind of woman are you going to act? Are you going to be the woman that every time a woman walks by, you all uncomfortable and out of your body and you looking at him? Did you look at her? Or you talking to her? Or you look, that's not a woman that a man, especially of that ilk, wants to be with. You know what I'm saying? So I think women, unbeknownst to them, could actually give a man who's highly desired more of a headache because of the fact that there's all this competition out here. And she's like, wow, this guy, women feel like, oh, I won him. But see, here's the thing. Other women want him too, So, I'm not saying women should live in fear, but, hey, ladies, if that's the kind of man you want and he's highly desired, just understand that, you're gonna have your work cut out for you. Right. But if you get with a man who's average, because to me, most men and women are average, right? That's most. Hey, know your boundaries, respect each other, and make sure, regardless of what the man looks like, whether you think he has the access or not, you got to respect him. Not saying you should be paranoid, but yeah, a man who is highly desired is definitely going to have a lot more temptation thrown at him on a level that may be higher than some others. So he's going to have more access. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So Beyonda, if Beyonda wants to respond to what you said, he can as well, because he can have a different opinion. Go ahead, Beyonda.
Yeah, what was your question in regard to? I was kind of driving. I couldn't hear anything.
Well, she started off saying she don't do struggle love.
Okay.
That's what she
And
first.
I don't.
That's what she first started saying, and then she went into, what do you say about the women who date men who have a high access to cheating and infidelity? It could be based off what they have. It could be based off what they look versus the person who's deemed to not have that same level of access. My answer was, even if the guy is not the best looking guy or the best in shape, he could still find a woman to cheat with. It would just be at his level. Like if he's a 5, he'll get another 5.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to the man
Yeah.
who's a
It's
right,
relative.
right.
Yeah.
But I didn't. But also, I'm not going to be disingenuous and say that the man who's a for women is a 9 or a 10. His likelihood to cheat with other women who are 9s and 10s are better than the guy who's a 5. I get that, but they both of them can still cheat
Yeah.
because cheating is not a looks thing; it's a person thing.
What do you mean by that?
Well, just because you look good don't mean you doesn't mean that you're gonna have the propensity to cheat. And just because you look
Oh,
ugly doesn't mean that you'll never cheat. That's the point that I'm making.
right. Oh, okay. Okay. I understand.
Yeah. So she was asking,
Um,
what do I say? What do I say about those women?
about women who choose guys who have a high access to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Uh, well, I mean, there are women who are going to go for a guy who is of a certain status. I'm not saying he has to be like Michael B. Jordan, but like, you know, respected by his peers, attractive, of course, money, whatever. And there are women that go for that guy, right? Expect that guy not to cheat. Um, and then when that guy does cheat, that woman is now destroyed emotionally because she thinks all men are cheaters. And then there are other women who already have accepted the fact that, you know, if you go higher up on the totem pole for men, that men are most likely going to cheat. But it's all about who they're going to um, accept it from. They'd rather accept it from someone who has money rather than someone who is on the lower totem pole, has nothing and still has the gall out there and cheat, right? Um, and then, you know, there are your guys that, you know, my brother-in-law, he's never cheated on my sister. Never. You know, my godfather never cheated on my godfather never cheated on my godmother. There's a lot of guys I know in my personal life that have never cheated, and then there are guys that I know who have cheated. Um, I mean, this depends on like what the girl accepts, right? If she goes for a guy that has a high propensity to do it, that she already in her mind accepts the fact that, hey, right now he's not a cheater, but someone down the line he can be, you know? Or she's just very hopeful that, you know, the guy that she has is just a guy of morals, has integrity, has self-control, discipline, and just won't do it, you know? So this depends. I don't think that I don't think I have a general opinion of those women. I just think that depends on, you know, how old she is, her experiences, her expectations of men. If they're too high, too low, balanced, it really depends. Um, yeah.
What's too high? How do you know for sure? I hate when people say that. Oh, and I'm not going to say to my knowledge because people want me to say that. Oh, to my knowledge, da 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 da. No, I've never been cheated on, period, point blank. And I feel like my ex have a certain level of integrity and honesty that they would tell me. So if they did. And a lot of them I have remained cordial with,
Yeah.
right? So, and if like you're in a really bad headspace, I've had like ex called me like because they were like in a really bad headspace and like just needed to talk because we did have a genuine friendship there, and oftentimes the friendship was there before like we dated or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
but and I do think like if people have, because a lot of people aren't friends with their partners either. I'm just gonna be honest. Like they have like
True.
this romantic aspect of their relationship, but I don't think they have like a true friendship. And I
Right.
find that when you have a genuine friendship, you're a lot more honest, right?
Yep.
And you know that you still trust, like even if that honesty is going to hurt, you still trust that this person has your best interest at heart. But
Right.
that's gone away from my question. My question is how what's too high standard? How would you like determine that?
Relative to the person who has the standards. Like I said before, people have access to so many things, and then things that because they have access to it, that they're now entitled to that thing. There are people who have somehow, some way, gotten into really high prestigious things got into like a really high prestigious club with guys or whatever because old dude smashed her or whatever, and now she thinks that she's entitled to that. When in reality she's not. And now when she goes back to the regular dating world and dates regular guys, she wants regular guys to be where she was, with other guys. People compare and contrast all the time. So when you have a significant other, whether it's recreational or romantic, it's really hard to go below that, especially if you held that person to a high regard. That's what I mean. It's really relative to the person who hasn't experienced this. If a person hasn't experienced much, then they're not going to have really high expectations because they haven't really been out there that much. But a person who has been out there that much, who has seen what life can offer and the world can offer, they're going to hold that man or woman to that standard because they don't want to go below that. That's what I mean by too high. Because they're not average people do not reach that standard because they're average. That's the whole point of being average. And most of people in the world are average. There are very few people
Facts.
who are able to reach that level of that level where they can provide someone the entire world. That's very rare. So when you're exposed to it, then you want that from regular guys, but regular guys don't have that. So if that answers your question.
It does. It does. Thank you.
Facts. And simply put, for the women out there, a guy clapped her cheeks. He has a private jet, right? And he was faithful. Maybe not. So she thinks that the next slew of men should have private jets just like him and be faithful. Let's just say you meet another man with a private jet. I don't know about that faithful part. I don't know about the fact of him being 6 feet and above part all the time. See, you're not going. You don't get everything you want in this world. That's unrealistic. So that also speaks to
But then
Bianca's
also
point.
a person to go what's his money?
Wait, I can't hear
It
you
would be
beyond. You're like breaking up bad.
when am I
I can't hear you. Say something. Hello? Mayday, Mayday.
yes.
I can.
Yeah,
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
I think you waited too long. You started breaking up again.
that tin can and a string service.
You're in that area.
Yeah, definitely. You live in the mountains in North Carolina?
No, I don't live in the mountains. I'm driving.
Okay. I'm just playing.
You sound like you're back. Oh, nope. You got one bar now.
No, I got you.
Okay, you sound better now. What were you saying?
Well, I have two on my phone.
Yeah, now
I
it's
was
back to
saying,
two.
person, that there are guys.
There are guys.
Yes, there are.
Go ahead. There are guys and then your audio cut off. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Is it more
Hey,
clear?
hey, you know what? Beyond it, I think you got a delay.
I think I might have a delay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
might
what
have
it
a
is.
delay. Yeah.
Yeah. But now go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm saying that there are guys who have money who aren't really that attractive, and they have women with them, but only because he has money. He can't. It'll be dumb for the guy to actually think that if it wasn't for the money, he'd get any girl he wants. Now, when the money goes away, the girls go away. You know, that's kind of the flip side of that.
Yeah, but I also think like that's on him, right? Like it's on what people value. And I think unfortunately a lot of people don't start dating people they really like until they first date themselves and like themselves, right? And for a lot of people it takes a long time.
Well, so I'm going to say this in response to that. It's when the very things that you got with the person are not on the table at the moment. So if you got with someone because they're tall, they have money, cool. But then what happens when you reach a problem that height and money can't fix?
I don't date for those things, so I don't know.
But that's what happens in relationships. Is that you have men and women. If you're a man and you're getting with a woman because she's fine, okay. So now when you come across a problem that has nothing to do with that and that's a non-factor, what do you do?
But I think that goes back to my statement, right? That a lot of people don't actually date people that they like, because dating for what like someone can do for you or how they make you feel is completely different than dating someone you like as an individual, as a person.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes
and
sense.
And I think a lot of people, like, they might date a fine woman because it does boost your ego. It makes you feel good, right? Oh, I was able to get that. Oh, I'm the boy, I'm the man around my boys. Oh, there's a certain kind of status being with this woman, or from a woman's perspective, oh yeah, he has money, like there's like this, that, the third, and all that is good and dandy, but like what about the actual person? Right? And I think that's why like a lot of people say, oh well, we grew apart, or we this or that. You guys were never headed the same place to begin with, because you were dating based on what that person could do for you, how they made you feel, or things like that, but you weren't dating that person.
So you're saying that it was circumstantial?
Yeah, it was very circumstantial.
Yeah.
And I think C19 exposed that a lot of people really didn't like their partner. When you couldn't go nowhere and all you had to do was like look in that person's face like 24/7 for a few months, there was, I think it was like record shattering relationships, breaking up, divorces, people were just like, yeah, I looked at this person enough. There wasn't space in between me and my partner. We couldn't do like excitement and like supplement that, right? And when all they were left with was the actual human being, no escape, a lot of people didn't like the person they were with.
Yep. I can definitely see that happening. You have like a unrealistic image of your partner when you guys are out and dandy or whatever, and then when you're forced to be in the house, you start seeing you start seeing them for who they really are, I guess. Or I would say, I'm sure that men and women experience like certain annoying traits about their partner that they couldn't handle anymore. You know.
Yeah, especially people who have jobs where they work in the field or they're going for long periods of time. So now they're home. So then now they're realizing, yeah, all that provision was cool, but man, I don't like the way I don't like the way he do this. I don't like the way she do this. And they never liked it, but they just didn't see it as much because they was going at work most of the day, most of the night, you know? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And that's why I didn't need C19 to break up with my boyfriend because he made me burn the oxtail because I told him he played too much. Yes. Yes.
Oxtail, you from the island? I heard an accent.
My mom's Jamaican.
Oh, okay. And your dad?
My dad's Indian.
Okay. East Indian or
Dot, not feather. I mean, well, feather would be here, but India.
okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I just think like people ignore. People will tell you who they are. They will show you who they are. I think a lot of times like we create like Beyonce said, like we create an image of this person in our head, and we're not actually listening to who they're telling us they are, right? And it's like, no, that person is exactly that. Like for me, I like someone that's playful and can laugh because I love to laugh. But I also have like a limit and a tolerance, right? If I'm doing something where I have to be serious, you have to know like there's a time and a place for everything. And if you're someone that just needs to play like 24/7, we're not gonna work out because you're gonna be who you are, and I don't want to stop you from being who you are. I just know that you and I together are it's oil and water. It's never going to work.
Yeah. You know, look at it this way, right? You're not gonna like you're not gonna like everything about someone, but you can like the core things. So, you know, you have people who are introverts and extroverts, right? And I've dated both, you know, an introvert and an extrovert, and it's two different dynamics, you know. I get what you're saying, person. You're talking about in terms of where there could be a moment where you get overstimulated.
Yes.
Yeah, and then that person doesn't know when to like. All right, it's time to decompress now.
Yeah.
I would say that person, two things there. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you don't see yourself. So then what happens is you don't realize you're being overstimulated. Just a simple, all right, not right now, can be enough. But also, hopefully that it's not in a way that tears them down, because everybody responds differently. You know, some
I have a
people
question.
are yappers, you know, so you're not going to tell your woman to shut up. It's kind of messed up to do that, you know, but, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't understand. So fifth, I don't understand why a lot of times. This is more so talking about like your panel and whatnot. Like, and I can name the woman that you've had on the show before. You know, Jazz, straight up, whatever. Right? I understand that having a difference of opinion is okay. That's normal for human beings. But the problem with that is the woman that you've had in the panel, outside of person, and maybe Dr. Love, a lot of the women that we've had in the panel just don't have common sense. Like person, just talking to her for the past I don't know how many hours we've been on, this like 2 hours I think, has common sense. So why do you think that a lot of women who don't have common sense, and men too, listen, there are men and guys on here that have no common sense. Why do you think that people with no common sense talk about things that are outside of their league?
Hmm. I think some
If you don't,
people,
if you don't have common sense, how are you gonna have how I get everyone has their opinion, I get that, but like
yeah.
there are just some things, man. It's just some things where like I've had to make the argument so many times on this panel when talking about statistics and probability, whatever. We learned this stuff in kindergarten. but then I'm being vilified for generalizing. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I've had that argument with people on this panel numerous times, and I don't understand why people who don't have common sense can't like have. You get my point? I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, because beyond the, so many people have poor relationship skills, man. A lot of people are alone, and they're gonna continue to be alone because they have poor relationship skills, knowledge. Um, they lack the common sense that you're talking about. They lack common decency. They lack common decorum. They lack class. You know, and people like that are not going to end up with quality people because they're not quality people themselves. And I think what's
I'm just saying,
happening
like,
is
why
that,
do people say outrageous things? And you and I have heard some crazy things. It's like, bro, that's not even like close to being true. Like someone with
yeah,
common sense would know that, but they don't know that. You know what I'm trying to say?
yeah. I mean, a lot of people are just grown children. You know, they're 21 and up, right? But they're just grown
Right.
children. You know, that's really what we're dealing with. You know, but also most people haven't done the thing. They just live vicariously by others and just share stories. And so their fears and traumas are not even the fears and traumas that they experience themselves. It's from others.
Right.
And when they don't get the results that they want to project it on others because misery loves company.
Yeah. But the whole thing of this, right, is this is a compliment to Person again. Like Person doesn't she's not under a certain ideology. And she's not echo chambering stuff, right? You and I have heard many people on this panel echo chamber a lot of things. It's
Yeah,
very
talking
annoying
points.
because,
Yeah,
yeah,
talking
because
points. Yeah,
like me and Person can have a disagreement on like, let's say like a policy or something, but like at the end of the day, it's still two people who have common sense that can be receptive to that idea that I could be wrong. You know, a lot of people on this panel do not have that reception where like they don't have that in their brain where like they can be like, oh, you know what, maybe I'm wrong. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's
yeah,
very annoying to like not have that. Like you can tell it won't click in their head because a lot of times I'm very receptive to what everyone says, but if it sounds stupid, which I can because I have common sense. I'm not trying to like put myself above people or anything like that. I'm just saying that
yeah.
like I understand like just like basic things. So whenever someone's making an argument and it kind of like goes out of the window of like basic fundamental things that we should all know because you all learned this in kindergarten and first grade, kind of like because they don't understand the fundamental of the like of the of talking. So it's very hard to talk to them. They don't. It won't click.
You got a good point. So, Anna, how you doing, Anna?
Hello. I'm doing good. How are you?
Eh, Good, good. I think I've seen you in my comments a few times. I don't know if you've been on the panel before. I feel like this is your first time.
I think so, maybe.
Yeah. So, my rules up here: don't curse, and then we good. Okay. So the topic today is: could you marry someone who's been divorced multiple times? Yes or no? And then you can provide whatever context you want. Okay. You have the floor.
Okay, so I'm gonna say no, me personally. I just feel like marriage is a very serious commitment between two people. And if a person is out there just getting married and treating it as like some type of, I don't know, like a medal or something that they could have under their belt or something, and they're not doing it for true love, then I feel like that person is not for me. Because anybody could throw a ring on your finger and propose to you and say they love you. And obviously, unfortunately, everybody and anybody can get married. but some people don't do it for the right reasons. Like, we have a lot of people who use people for finances. We have people who use people for, things they can get out of it, like whatever it may be. I don't know. Um, so yeah, I just feel like no. I just feel like no. I can't. I can't.
Okay. So what if someone's been cheated on twice? You disqualifying them in
If
their
someone has been
divorces?
if someone has been cheated on in their divorces, um,
Twice.
I'm gonna still judge. I'm sorry.
You're gonna judge
Because
the one who was cheated on or cheated?
both. I feel like, okay, like I just said, marriage is a really serious thing, right? It's not like, that's what the dating and the vetting and all that is for. That's the purpose of dating, in my opinion, is to eventually marry this person, have children, have a family. So if it happens to you one time, I get it. But if it happened to you a second, a third, a fourth marriage and it's still happening to you, it lets me know as well, even though you were the victim in this situation, it lets me know that just you're not emotionally, and you're just not ready yet. I think that person that's being cheated on needs to what's the word? Da, 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 da. I feel like the person that continuously gets cheated on just needs to heal themselves and work on themselves, because obviously they're not picking the right people. And even though I might be the right person for you, look at what I got to deal with now. Now I have to always deal with your emotions and your feelings and maybe even insecurity because of your past. And I don't deserve that.
To be fair, could that be projecting?
Possibly. Possibly.
I don't really feel like it's projection though. I think that goes along the lines of other studies that's been done, even though they're completely unrelated. But when you look at SA victims, when you look at DV victims, when you look at basically when a human being experiences negative things that's happened to them, they're likely, they have a higher chance and probability of choosing someone else that is like that, because there's a certain part of them, of their body, of their mental, their nervous system, that has equated this to being normal. So even though the person may not recognize that I may be addicted to people that are cheaters, I don't exactly know what that looks like, because I've never dated a cheater. But I'm pretty sure, like, if someone sat there and they studied it long enough, they'd be able to tell us like what those are. But I do think like they could be drawn to like those people because, again, they've rationalized this, whether it's growing up and you saw that your parents cheated or were unfaithful to each other, or I don't know. I do know that, like, based on studies of other things, when something negative happens to someone and their body or mind or nervous system rationalizes it as normal, they have a higher probability of selecting someone that is similar to that past negative traumatic experience. So I don't think it's always projecting.
Host, are we allowed to ask you the same question, or is that one of your rules? I don't know.
I'm no, I'm not above reproach. You can do whatever.
Okay, so what about if I ask you the same question you just asked me, basically? So, would you marry someone or be with someone who was cheated on in their relationship and they got married twice and they got cheated on both times? How would you handle a situation like that?
So, for the non-married part, I've been with someone who have been cheated on more than once. I've done that before. Been there, done that. Had a relationship with that person. It is what it is, right? But I didn't hold that against them because they got cheated on. I'm not gonna hold. I'm not gonna do that. I've dated someone who but it didn't go to. I mean, it didn't go to where it was. But I've dated some more than one woman who's been married and divorced before, and one of those was infidelity. Was she married twice? No, but she was married and divorced once, and it was because of infidelity. Um,
Once I could deal with. I can deal with once, but
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
So I
also,
be,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You was about to help me with something. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, as far as dating someone that's been cheated on, that right there is something I could probably work on because, like I said, me personally, I think there should be a time limit before you even start considering marriage with someone. We're not doing 6 months now. We're engaged, and then a year later we got a baby, and now we're married. Like, no. I think that the vetting process goes into different categories, and you need to know this person inside and out before you try to give them your last name or vice versa. Like, we just
Yeah,
can't be just out here just getting married to people, right? Like, yeah, I could meet you all I want, but I want to meet your mother and your father. I want to meet grandma. I want to go to the family reunion. Whatever y'all do as a family,
yeah.
whatever y'all do together, I want to be a part of it at least one time. I don't only want to prove to you that I'm a good woman, but I want to prove to your family as well that I'm a good woman. And I'm not going to just say how good I am, because who got time to be sitting here talking and making themselves sound all goody two shoes. I'm going to show you. And everything that I do for you, you're going to know that I love you. It's never going to be a question in your mind like, what is she doing? Where's she at? Da, 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 da. I'm going to just be doing shit just to be doing shit, because that's the kind of female that I am.
Watch
So,
the S word for me, okay?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
And when I get into it, I'm just like,
It's
um,
all good.
but so yeah, that's just how I feel. And I feel like after you actually went through all these different things, you know this person's, you know their triggers, you know what makes them upset, you know what makes them smile, you know their favorite stuff, and you know their favorite food. And it might sound mediocre, it might sound, like little kid stuff, oh, what's your favorite color? Listen, it might sound silly, but if I ask that on the first date, don't judge me, because that's important to me. I want to know everything about you, you know? So once we get all that done, I wouldn't have no issue marrying you now, because I got all the information I need, you know? And it shouldn't be no weird stuff going on once we get married, because if we were together for a certain amount of time, I should have already picked up on some of the red flags and things that made me less attractive to you or gave me the ick or whatever you want to call it. And I'm
Yeah.
going to put everything into consideration before I say yes and before we walk down the aisle. People are just getting married too fast, too soon, without even meeting the mom and dad. Like, how many people do you know that are in relationships for years and they never met the person's mother, never met the person's father, only spoke on the phone or whatever, or even
Well,
having babies
I
and
mean, it
never even
depends on.
met, you know?
Yeah, I would
No,
say it depends.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say it depends on how people live. I mean, um, we're in a world where we're running into people who are relocated from their hometown, their home country. So we got to look into the context of that. I know I have. I've dated women who are not from here, so I never met their parents in person because their
Right,
parents
I
don't
get
live
it.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
so
get that part.
yeah. Now, if everybody's in all in one spot, that's one thing. I judge that differently. So, but yeah, person had a hand up. What was you about to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say that I disagree with I need to know you in and out, because a lot of times that's gonna change. Your favorite color may change. What you may like to do may change. And oftentimes, um, you go into marriage not knowing that how do I say this? I'm trying to figure out the best way. You know the core identity of that person. Are they considerate? Are they kind? Are they caring? Do they value how you feel, or how what they do makes you feel a certain kind of way, or things of that nature? And I do think like the core things are important to know, but like everything about that person, I feel like now we're getting into nuances where it's impossible to know a person 1,000% of the time. And again, even if you do somehow magically know every single thing about that person, 10 years from now, that may change. I may like rock climbing now, but 7 years from now, I'm not into that no more, right? I want to go jump off planes. But now all of a sudden, because you judged me based on the rock climbing, right? And we had that shared interest, but now I'm like, oh well, babe, I'm not really that into it anymore. Now we have contention because what should have been sought after is the fact that that person values quality time with you, which means like even if um I don't like rock climbing anymore, you know that I'm a person that values that quality time with you, so I'm still gonna make that time to be with you. And when you marry, you are marrying into the unknown. You're basically saying like, I know enough of this person, the person, not their likes, not their interests, none of that, to be honest with you, is really gonna matter, because I kind of feel like if you like that person enough, you are gonna kind of be interested in their likes anyway. Like, why do they like this kind of thing? Let me go see. You're gonna be curious about those little things, right? Um, and so that's naturally gonna come. And you may try it out and be like, yo, that's not for me, but I still like you as a person. I just can't get down with what you into, right? So I don't know. That's my only little pushback. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and I agree with you as well. When I said everything, I'm not saying, because you can waste a year or 2 years trying to get to know everything about this person and it don't work out. And then, it's a lot of time wasted. It's a lot of things like that, like for nothing. I didn't mean like know everything, like, like how you wear your underwear and do you scratch your butt when no one's looking, or, like I'm not talking about everything at a literal sense of like everything, because like you're right, that is impossible to know everything about a person. I understand, I get that. So yeah, I agree with you on that part. When I say that, I just mean like if you like rock climbing and me and you meet and you like rock climbing and I know that's something that you love and throughout the years it changes, I'm gonna change with you, right? Because we're growing together, right? We're in a relationship, we're growing together. So now you're going to mature. Not everyone is going to be the same person they were when they were 20 and now you're married 15 years and you're still that same person. If that's the case, then that sucks. But eventually you would want somebody to grow and mature and grow out of things and get into new things, right? As long as it isn't nothing negative, of course. But I will understand that. I will not get upset or judge and say, oh well, yeah, he used to like this, but now he like this, and I can't do it no more. Like no, because I know mentally anyone as a grown adult will know that people are going to mature and people are going to change. I will just make that change with you because I'm going to change too. So
You know, Anna,
yeah, you so silly. She funny
Anna,
as hell.
Anna, I wanna ask this question because I could tell sometimes I could tell by a woman's age and experience what she might be. So I'm someone who's a 39-year-old man. I, I had I had extremely unrealistic expectations when I was in my 20s, but I didn't know they were unrealistic because I was in my 20s. Then when I got older, I was like, wow, that's some childish stuff, man.
Right.
So I'm 39 years old, right? So Anna, I'm not gonna call out your age, but I'm gonna ask this range. Are you between 30 and 40?
Yes.
Okay, there it is. I can tell because there's a level of realism that I'm hearing in your voice when you said, "Yeah, he may change, and I'm gonna change with you because people grow together." That is a mature state of mind because that does happen. There are things that are going to evolve. You, him, both of y'all together. There are things that may have worked in the beginning that are going to expire, right? Not the relationship, but just maybe some of those things that maybe put y'all together. But in
Right.
between that time, there's going to be new things that are going to develop, or maybe some of the things that had potential that didn't grow to where it was in the beginning grows when you age with that person.
Right. Thank you for understanding that. Yeah, it's important to hear a man, say that he agrees with something because, you have a lot of immature ones out here that say, "Oh no, 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 I ain't changing. I'm not changing. I hear it all the time." So
Hey,
that's
look,
hard.
the
Yeah,
body
damn, she
doesn't
has common sense too.
the body doesn't stay young together. Rock climbing, look, the body doesn't stay young forever. We got knees, back, shoulders, and that was a
Right.
thing. But for the sake of our health, we got to stop doing that. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I look, I know exactly where it's at. And then secondly, um, there are things that are more important than others. If my lady has a certain hobby that doesn't match with mine, I ain't tripping. Look, look, it's cool. Like I don't need a woman who's a content creator just like me. I actually prefer not to be, to be honest with you. But
Right.
I don't need one that is. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. I love basketball. My wife don't have to be a basketball fan,
Mm-hmm.
but she should let me watch it.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and not get on my case when I do watch it, because then that could be a problem. It's like, dang, you spoiling all the fun. But if that's not her thing, that's not her thing. It's cool.
Listen, I would listen. I'm just saying, I'm not a big sports person. I played a lot of sports growing up, but I'm not a big sports person anymore. But I will sure cook and sit there and chill and eat that food,
That's
order
what I'm talking
pizza or
about.
whatever, whatever. Like
So
I was never a person like when I was younger, that did the club stuff. I've always had like an old soul. My mom used to always tell me, and
yeah,
I was never into clubs or house parties or going to
me either.
concerts and things like that. Never, like never. So I went from like I would like hang out like in my house with maybe like one or two girls. That's like my max. I can't chill around too many people. I start getting I start getting
What,
like
overstimulated?
right. I get overstimulated very easily. So long
Yeah,
story short, I went from doing that to now is just like I would rather freaking go to a wine a vineyard or something like that. Like that's a vacation for me. Let me go to
yeah,
a vineyard, do some wine tasting. I want to do like paint and sip. I want to walk the boardwalk. I know it sounds so freaking crazy, but this is real. Like women like me are like we're out here. Like like people always assume that oh you wild, oh you want to do this, you want to like I have never been that way, and I never will be that way. And I've been around tons of people who are that way, and never influenced me. Don't and nobody ever influenced me to do things that I was uncomfortable with because I'm me. Like I have a brain of my own, and I know how to pick the people that I'm around.
yeah. That's
And
what's up. Person, you got anything to say?
yes, W Knicks, they won the Super Bowl. I'm kidding.
Oh Lord Jesus.
They scored a touchdown. I'm kidding. At least
I
know
was on
that
that.
much.
Listen, I don't even watch
I
sports, but I was on that bandwagon so hard. I think it's because I live in Brooklyn, but I was on that bandwagon so hard. I started wearing Knicks stuff. Meanwhile, I don't know nothing. Everybody used to be
Oh,
looking at me. They'd be like, "Oh,
I'm
what
a,
you go Knicks, go Knicks." You seen that last play? I was all like, "Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah, they won."
uh, nah,
Just
I'm a,
lying.
I'm a, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. So I mean, it was definitely a gift to see them win. Out of all my years since I was young, seeing them lose, so definitely a big deal. But yeah, go ahead, person.
Um, something that I want to say, Anna.
Uh-huh.
I think you had it right when you said, "Why are you picking the wrong people?" Because that shows accountability. I think a lot of times when people think, like just because I may have been a victim of something, it means that I had no accountability in the situation, which is not true. And I'm glad you said that because even if your accountability is solely limited to I picked this person, you're still accountable for that. It's just like when we're having a conversation about leadership and submission, right? You as a woman, you're ultimately responsible for picking your partner as well. Like, you know what I mean? So if
Right.
you picked a guy that doesn't have good leadership qualities, well, why you pick him? Now y'all having like quarrels about submission. You wouldn't need to have that quarrel or that discontentment in your relationship if you had selected a better partner. So I do like to say that W, accountability. W that.
Yes. Yes, thank you, baby. And I want to say I'm the same way with my friends. Like I don't have friends. I'm gonna be real. I used to, but I don't. I had this bad problem. I don't know why. Because like I told you guys, I gave you a quick rundown. I don't do smugs. I don't do none of that stuff. So for some reason, I always like literally attracted like the girls that I would attract as friends growing up, whether it was in high school, my young 20s, mid 20s, whatever. I would meet a girl and she'll be chill. everything's going good. You know, we talking, we laughing, we having a good time. And then I would start to see a change in her behavior. And now she wants to go and do this. And I'm like, wait, whoa. No, girl, you can count me out. I don't do that, you know? And I don't know if I attracted these terrible people because I'm kind and I thought that maybe I could change them. Because I know it sounds weird, but a friendship is also a relationship as well. The people you hang around with and the things that you do and the people you allow in your circle says a lot about you as a person as well. It's not just about the man, it's about the friends, the company that you keep, right? And I've never kept bad company around me, and I'm friendless. And I'm like, damn, like life is kind of lonely, you know. I don't have nobody to hang out with and chill with. And you know, you see people, I drive all the time, and you know, I see friends hanging out at the cafes, and I just never attracted that type. I always attracted like, you know, like the clubbing type people. And I didn't attract them in that scene. I attracted them on the street, you know, whether they needed help with a tire or, and we're in a supermarket and we wait in a line for mad long. And I'm just like, oh, this line is forever. And she like, girl, yes, it's always long in here. You know, like that's how I meet people. And it's weird. And then it's just like, I always attracted the negative people. Always. And I always wondered why, you know? And I would be positive in their life. Like if they want to go buy Smugs or whatever, I'll be like, no, girl, you don't need that. Let's take a walk. Let's go do something else. Like, I don't know if I thought I was like some type of spiritual healer or something, but I don't know. I had to let everybody go, because I don't want you having issues outside in the streets and then I'm with you that day. And now your issue become my issue. You got problems with this one. Now she don't like me because I'm with you all the time. It says a lot about me. And I'm not putting myself in nobody business. I'm not putting my life in danger over no one. A friend is not that serious to me. I can come on panels like this and enjoy my day, you know, and meet good people, meet mature people, and just, you know, call it a day and not have to deal with no drama, you know. So I just wanted to get that out there, because the same way I would vet a man if I was dating right now, but I'm not, is the same way that I pick my friends as well, because that also says a lot about your character.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because there are plenty of women out here, right, who it's been backwards. So they have good male friends, but terrible boyfriends. I don't get it because they spent more time vetting who they should let be in their friend circle, but not romantically. And if we could just get the same level, depending on where the woman's at on her stage, she's so good at vetting friends that needs to translate into also her romantic partners.
Right. I agree with that. I just can't stand, like, you can feel, you can sense, like if you're a good person, like really deep down a good person, because we all have our, you know, tribes and tribulations. We all have our, you know, things that happen in life that, you know, are negative or whatever. But you can sense a good person when you just have a conversation with them. I can tell within the first 5 minutes of a conversation if this person is gonna be a problem or not. I can't say I was that way years ago, but now I am extremely cautious about the people I communicate with, the people I hang out with, the people, all that. I am very cautious, because if I speak to you, and I know I cursed earlier, but if I'm talking to a girl and all she doing is you know, with the cursing and the hand movements and the neck movements and, you know, all that, yeah, we're not gonna click, because I could already tell off that energy that you're gonna be a problem. And never listen. You can't meet friends now at my age like that unless, you know, I don't know. I think it's easier for men to meet people more than females, in my opinion. Like, especially like in your 30s, and I'm like in my mid 30s, so it's way harder for me to meet like another woman in her mid 30s that share like the same mindset when it comes to certain things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, can I say this to you? I think who you also have in your network already will also determine how you meet new people, because they may have an opinion that you may honor and value For instance, married women who are in like a good marriage, right?
Hmm.
Married women, when they select a friend, I kind of think that I'm not going to say that they run it by their husband, but their husband does have an influence on the new friends that she may take on when they're
Right.
married, because it's just that other person, their opinion, their accountability, it just sits there, and you could trust that. I would hope, right?
Right.
So I think when a woman is in that arrangement, then I think her. I think she's like, yeah, my husband was around and he wasn't feeling her, and because your husband wasn't feeling her, you ain't feeling her either. That could happen. That
Right.
that that could happen. I'm not saying it always happens, but it could happen. But when you're single and you're choosing people in your circle, it's gonna have a different uh, outcome because you're by yourself. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, and then
so
that's that's another
yeah,
thing too, because I would love to meet a mature woman who has, a husband and a family and things like that. And it's crazy because I was in a different panel before and I said something like that, and immediately people were like, oh hell no, I'm sorry, oh heck no, like, you're single, you're not going to be around, you're single, you're smart, you're pretty, no, you're not going to be around mine. And then the men was saying, oh yeah, she's trying to do that polygamy or whatever, and I'm just like, no, it's okay. Like, maybe that woman can teach me something. People are so quick to just assume, once again, that because a woman wants to meet another woman who might have a little more going for herself than she does, that there's always a bad intention. And that's not true. I feel like, sometimes it's nice to be around other people who have it a little more together than you do, whether it's relationship wise, financially, or whatever, because they can teach you something. Maybe me being around that woman with her married man will open up my eyes and let me know that maybe I'm a little too crazy, not crazy, but maybe I'm a little too nice in a relationship, or maybe I'm a little too loud sometime, or maybe, like, give me a different angle on how to look at a situation, because you have more experience, you have been married, this is working for you, and you're happy. A place that I want to be at one day, but people don't look at it that way. They look at, oh, you want to invite your man in the bedroom, and oh, you want her to be around your man, don't trust her, and it's not like that. Nobody's going to be around nobody's man. I don't want to be around nobody's man. I won't even feel comfortable being around nobody's man. Like, if your husband's at home and you want to have a girls' day at your house, like watch Netflix or whatever, drink some wine, play some board games, whatever mature older women do, I would rather us do it if your man is like, I'd rather us do it when he's away. Like, if he's there, I'll probably pass on that for that day. I'll say, okay, girl, invite me over when he's not home or whatever. Or, if he is home, then, keep him in a room, lock the door, feed him, and let him play the game or something. I don't know, but I don't want to be around. I don't want to make the situation awkward. That's all I had to say. I'm sorry. I talk a lot.
no, it's fine. Can I will say this though. I do think married couples should have married friends more than the
Yeah.
single friends. I'm not saying that they can't have one, but I just think once you become married, the you should have married friends. Some
Yeah.
things just happen. Some things just happen just based off whatever your current condition is. When you're single, you're naturally going to attract single people. That's just what it is. You're single, you're gonna have single friends, or non-married, but you know they're friends, but they're in relationship, but they're just not wedded yet. They
Right.
got girlfriends and boyfriends. So you're gonna
Yeah.
have that situation. But I think when you become married, there is a filter. There is a filter on who you should be friends with, and that goes for the man and the woman. I'm not being one-sided. I'm not being one-sided.
I totally get it.
Um,
Listen, I'm
yeah,
not gonna go cry in a corner and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be friendless forever." Like, no,
right.
I totally get what you're saying. Um, I agree with that. I do agree with that. Like I said, if I was married and I met another woman who was married, I probably wouldn't feel as uncomfortable at going to her house and her man is there. But me being a single
Right.
woman, me being a respectful woman, and me,
Hmm.
you know, being as cautious as I can because I know how things can happen, because you see it all the time. You hear this horror stories about how, a girl ended her 10-year best friend relationship because, or whatever. You hear it all the time. And I would never want to put my friend or myself in a situation like that because it's haters
Yeah,
out there that make up rumors and, the list goes on. So,
yeah.
yeah, I totally get that. And if I was to meet a woman and she was married and she wanted to be friends with me and we're kicking it and we're hitting it off and everything like that, like I said, let's just keep it like that. I don't mind meeting your husband at times, but it's not going to be all the time at your house. Your husband is outside, your husband's around us and we're doing like that three-way friendship type, because I even see videos online about people who are married and they got single friends and single friend is always around. Like, it's like it has
Yeah.
to be it has to be a filter both ways, like it has to be that same respect both ways. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then it's also going to boil down to the advice. I mean, I had a topic uh, weeks ago, and that is, should married couples take relationship advice from single friends?
You said
You
No,
know,
moms? You said moms?
no, married.
friends.
Oh, married women take advice from single friends?
Yes.
Should married couples take relationship advice from single friends? That was the old topic I had, and a lot of people said no.
Of course
Yeah,
not. What they gonna
yeah, I
do? Tell
agree.
you how to
Yeah,
be
I agree.
single?
There's there no no yeah, that's true. What is a single friend going to tell me about anything about a relationship? If a married woman or a married man is asking his single friend about relationship advice anyway, that right there already tells you where they going in their mind. Because why are you asking somebody with no experience about things? And if they do have experience, maybe they were married before, but now they're divorced. Why are you talking to them? You know,
Well,
I
well, you,
I will say this. I'm sorry, host. I just want to get this last thing out.
yeah,
I
yeah.
will say this. There are a lot of couples out there that have been married for a long time, and maybe you know I was about to compare it to jail. Like, oh, imagine the person in jail. They come out and all this technology is different. I'm not. I don't want to compare it to jail, but I feel like maybe they do have questions sometime. Like, listen, I've been married 25 years, and you're single. I just want to know, how would you handle this situation? Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I doing too much? Is she doing too much? Am I being too loud? Is she being too loud? Certain questions I would honestly say are tolerable, but it depends on what you're asking, and it depends on why you're asking it. I contradicted myself, but yeah, I'm more on the fence of
No, no.
no. I'm more of a no.
Now you brought up the divorced person, right? So this is how I take a divorced person's marriage advice. Um, it depends on how they got divorced, because I still think they have something to say. Is there going to be a filter? Yeah, but I think they still have something to say. There's a saying that says, chew the meat, spit out the bones. There may be some still fruitful things that may work there. Case in point, it's going to be extreme, but I'm going to use this as an analogy, and I have to use a TikTok way to say it. If a person who smoked rack before, a rackhead, a former rackhead, wants to smoke rack, I'm gonna bring him in, because he's been there, done that, and now he's trying to encourage them to not do what he did.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, no, does that compute? What do you think?
No. And no. No. It generated in my brain. I got it. I get it. Um.
Yeah,
I
like
didn't look at it in that
like a
way.
former
'Cause
like a former DV person advising men and women to not do DV. I think we should listen to them.
yeah, if you're like recovered from, and if you're recovered from something traumatic and you're healed, and you want to go out and give advice on not to fall in that hole that they went through, and they're just sincerely being genuine and giving you advice, I do get it. But when I said
Yeah,
divorced, I was looking more of like you and your wife, for example, right? She has a best friend, or you might have a best friend, and they were married before, but well, not I'm not gonna even say best friend. I'm just saying, like, like you said, single people, because when you're divorced, you're single now. So a single person that was divorced, and I don't know what the question would be that you would ask, and why you would need this question from a divorced
Hmm.
person. I kind of feel like it depend. It really strongly depends on exactly what you're asking, because I don't know what would be that line of like, oh no, don't take advice for that, but you could take advice for this. So you're more better with analogies. I am
Uh
terrible with comparisons. So give me a question that a married couple would ask a divorced person that would be justifiable, or whatever the word is.
All right. Married man talks to his divorced friend, and he says, "Hey, man, my wife is accusing me of cheating. How do I handle that?" Could the divorced
Okay.
friend answer that question?
If the reason why he's divorced is because of infidelity, and he wants you to prevent any problems, I would honestly probably say that's kind of. I mean, I would say listen, just hear him out, see what he has to say.
Yeah. Uh
Um,
huh.
yeah, that's how I feel. Now if the divorce ended because he walked out and got the milk and he ain't come back, or whatever, that's a
Hmm.
whole different topic. But I think the questions should be based off the experience of that person that got divorced. Because if you're asking any other questions that they don't even have a answer for, then you're wasting your time. Because that's just like me going on TikTok or going on Reddit, or using Google and saying, hey, hey Google, you know you know what I mean. So it's like, yeah, I get it. I get that point. I like that. So I agree. I think she said I don't think they should talk. Um,
I mean that's fine and all, but what I'm saying is that uh, I'm an advocate of people teaching you or learning from their own mistakes.
But then again,
So if
I'm
you,
I'm I'm literally scratching my freaking head right now,
Yeah.
because I'm saying to myself, okay, so they're divorced because, let's say, his wife was infidelity, or him, or whatever, and now you're going and you're asking him, hey, what you da, da, da. I'm thinking in my head, if he was the corporate, whatever it is, if he was the one that caused the infidelity in that relationship, you should definitely not go to him. If he was the one who got cheated on, I think his opinion is going to be extremely biased, because he's the victim in the situation, and kind of. So it's kind of like you're going to either get two pieces of advice. You're going to get advice from a person who got their heart broken, which might not be good advice, because they're still emotionally, heartbroken or attached, or whatever you want to call it. And then you don't want to get it from a person who did the wrong stuff, that's trying to get better, and now he back on his feet, and now he's not a cheater no more, because then he's going to give you advice from what he did. But is he really better? Because in my head, I feel like once you a cheater, you always a cheater. I'm sorry, that's how my mind
yeah,
thinks.
but if you, yeah, but if you, that's cool if that's how your mind thinks. But if the advice is, brother, you don't want to end up like me because I cheated on my wife and lost everything, man. Don't do it. It ain't worth it. That sounds like good advice to me. I mean, that sounds like common sense advice, but it's coming from the man who made a mistake. I think we measure, this
I'm
is
on the
what we do,
fence. I'm on
right?
the fence.
This is what we do. I think we measure what the mistake is to our understanding and our threshold. So we may say, nah, he did that. I'm not with that. But then for the person who may have gambled his money away and is now giving you financial advice on not to gamble, we'll listen to that guy because we saw that he lost everything by gambling. But we won't listen to the cheater who's reformed, who's telling you not to cheat. I need help with that one, ladies.
All right, you got me.
Yeah, but that's a very low
I don't even
percentage
got
of
nothing to
people
say.
though. That's a very low percentage of people. I think a lot of people that go through those kinds of things, majority of times they're not at the place in their life where they should be giving people advice. But for the small percentage that you're speaking of, I do agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I get it. You know, because I like to watch podcasts. I'm now getting into it. I didn't used to like watching it, but I like to listen to podcasts. And sometimes, you know, you do have people who literally go through things like we're talking about right now, who, hey man, listen, you don't want to do that. I lost my wife, I lost my kid, I lost my dog, you know, I went through all this, and you know, don't do it, bro, don't do it. Or if she feel like you're doing it, show her your phone, do this and do that, do everything you can to prove to her that you're being faithful, you know. um that's it. I'm sorry.
But
I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't know though. I kind of feel like a lot of people that accuse people of cheating, it comes from two places generally, right? And of course there's the exception to every rule, but I'm speaking in general terms. Either comes from projecting because they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. So now because they're doing something wrong, they feel like you're doing something wrong too, right? Or it comes from a place of insecurity, right? So if it comes from, you know, the first one, I don't know how to help you. I don't know. Don't ask me no questions. But the second one, I think there are some deeper rooted issues there that's making them feel that way. It may not necessarily be like they feel like you're cheating, but they're trying to figure out maybe why you haven't been as attentive as you used to be in the past, or they feel like the relationship has changed, and that's really the conversation they want to have, right? There's something causing an insecurity within them about the relationship. It's just unfortunate that oftentimes when people speak, they don't speak from a place of what they actually need or what the actual problem is, because a lot of times they don't even know like what the problem is, right? So they address symptoms, they don't address like the actual issue.
Right. And that's one thing in a relationship that I don't want to be a part of, because once a person starts accusing you of infidelity, I'm telling you this right now, that will never leave their brain. I don't care how great it is afterwards. I don't care how much you prove to that person that, yeah, babe, I'm not doing that. Look. That is always going to be something in the back of that person's head, because if they had that thought before and they brought it to your attention, it is something that is always going to still just exist. It's like a little piece of oil in water that you just can't get out. Like, you just can't get out, because every time you try to get it out, it separates into little pieces. So it's like, it's always, that was a terrible analogy. You see, I'm not good at this, host, I told you. But yeah, it's just like, you know, it's just, in my opinion, I just feel like once a person starts accusing you of that, you just have to be on your toes, because at that point, I just feel like it's already end game. Eventually, it's going to be end game at one point. Hopefully not, but eventually, I feel like.
Yeah, that's what's up. Let me bring my boy Ruthless in. Ruthless, how you doing, sir?
How you guys doing? I'm ready to be toxic as ever.
Oh Lord. All right. So the topic: could you marry someone who's been divorced multiple times? Yes or no? And you can provide all the context you want. Go ahead.
Yes, if she look good enough. I mean, especially like that. Hey man, I'm not gonna sit here and fake it. Talk about I got all these standards, expectations, and I do got them. But if she look good like a young J Lo, oh yeah, it's going down. I'll be husband number 4. So yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. That's just who I am. That's and I've embraced that. And yeah. So I don't believe nothing counts if she looks good enough and have more bounce to the ounce, right? And I'm just saying,
Oh my goodness.
you know what I mean? Nothing matters when she looks good. And it go for men, it go for women too, right? Same thing, right? If he looks good enough, aesthetically and pleasing, best believe she better move them standards and boundaries around. She gonna be moving them around, right? Like, ooh, okay, well, I know I said I wouldn't do that, but guess what? Huh? And all your friends are telling you, girl, didn't you say? Mind your business, girl. So yeah, I just think we as people, we want what we want, right? We want what we want.
I
And
mean, YOLO, right? You know?
No, not YOLO. I will not jump on that train. No, thank you.
I'm just saying. Well, I'm almost done. Listen, I've seen this story played out so many times. Everybody got a plan till they get punched in the mouth. It's just it's always, and it's always seemed like it's the people who are the most, you know, disciplined, self-regulated, emotional, intelligent. She's, you know, educated, right? All these them the ones, right? That get they and that's cool, you know. And crazy part about this, these people are targets, right? People target people like this. Yeah, yo, she thinks she all that, huh? Okay. So for me, I don't care about body count. I don't care if she's a former stripper. I don't care if she jumped off buildings or swung on trees. I don't care if she
Yo.
has a bad personality. If she meets my aesthetically pleasing eyesight, we gonna work it out, boo.
Well. That was a lot. But listen, one thing I will say, right? Even though I disagree for my life, right? What you do with your life,
Uh-huh.
as long as you loud and you proud about what you do and you ain't holding back and being fake, do what you do, baby boo. Okay?
Boo. I love it.
But listen, you ain't gonna get at me, but you'll get someone, and
Oh yeah,
just be
but
careful. Okay?
Anna,
You know?
yeah. Let me, Anna, damn, you looking good in that avatar up there. God dang. I don't know, man. I ain't gonna lie, right? I ain't gonna lie, right? I ain't gonna cap. You know what I'm saying? I ain't about to rap.
You see,
I'm just
you tell a
saying.
man you confident, be yourself, and he just go.
Anna, Anna, I was trying to disagree with you till I saw your avatar.
Oh, God.
You mesmerized me. I was like, damn, fuck. Now I gotta let her win. So
You are
I'm just
funny. I
saying.
will tell you that. You got me laughing.
Okay, I'll keep it real, man. And see, when I
I
talk to women,
see. I
when I
respect
talk
it.
to,
I respect it.
and you know it's crazy, Anna. I talk to every woman the same way. I don't care if you're a lawyer from the most prestigious law firm or you from the hood. I give you the same energy. What's up, boo? What's good? And then the lawyer women be looking at me like, excuse me? I'm like, what's good? What's poppin'? You looking like a bad bitch. And they be like, you're so funny. Yeah, I think I bring the animal out of them. And I like that because I
Hey,
don't
hey,
like to,
hey,
yeah,
Ruthless. With the words, try to say
I
baddie.
know.
Okay,
It was
all right.
but me to say the way I said it was the
Yeah,
most authentic way. You know, I mean, baddie would have been taken away from my keep it real type of. But I got you.
I
But
got
yeah,
you. But it's TikTok. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I
You
know,
know. Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I love it, man. I love it. I
Oh
like
my
it.
god.
I see dudes who treat these women far more than what these women really are. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to her so nice. So what's your name? What's your favorite color? I'm like, what the? You just say what you want. Why you playing? Everybody want to. That's why I hate America. I hate
But you
America.
know what's funny? That's real though, to be honest, because I feel like if I was to meet you on the street, I'm gonna be honest, and you say whatever you say, like, hey, you looking good today or whatever, I might smile and just say thank you because you funny and you goofy compared to somebody, and I mean goofy in a good way. You know, they use that word for other reasons, but you know, and then I might
Silly,
see a dude,
silly. Yeah.
right, and then yeah, and then I'll see a dude that be like, yo, how you doing? Like that'll give me the ick, you know. So I
Oh
would,
Lord.
I probably no, because you got these dudes like you can see a person and know that they full of it when they. It's always the dudes that's like, hey yo, ma, what's good? Like you look real good today. I might say thank you, but I'm looking behind my back when I walk past you because you know. But compared to like ruthless, for example, he might just be himself like he has been thus far, and be like, yo, you look good, girl. I like your hair, and I'll be like, oh, thank you. You know, it's like a total different response because now I don't fear you. I'm not afraid of you because I could already see that you chill. But
And then
you're
I'll
not
be
gonna
like,
get my
clock
you're
it.
not gonna get my number. But I'm gonna you're gonna make my day. That's all
No,
I
I'm gonna
gotta
be
say.
like, I'm gonna tell you to clock it. But
No, you're not.
period.
Let me let me get Vita in the conversation. Am I saying it right, Vita?
Yes.
There we go. Um,
Hey,
So up here,
beautiful.
up
Hey.
up up here. Just watch your language, no cursing. TikTok, okay? The prompt is: could you marry someone who's been divorced multiple times? Yes or no? What do you think?
I'm gonna go with no.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be someone else's fault every time for that
Mm-hmm.
divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you pick really bad. And then I'm gonna
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Then you're gonna question why they pick like that. Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah. You would have had to have done a whole lot of work. And
Wait,
I would
wait.
figure if you did that work, there would be fruits like other relationships to show for that. And then I don't know why they would all fail too, that you got to me. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm just gonna say no.
I
I'm
think.
calling cap. I'm calling cap.
And why is that?
It depends on how he looks.
No.
Especially if he got personality. If he looks good and have personality, and don't let him be in some dress real nice or off. Listen, I hear once again, these women always don't believe them. Fifth, they tell you they get all these standards and everything until they see a dude like Alex Smith or Denzel come through that door with some little swag. He can have 10 wives. She's like, I'll be number 11, boo. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, you wild.
First of all, not too much on Denzel because he is a faithful, respectable man
Exactly.
that stood up not only for respecting women, but actually at one point in his career, just a quick history Denzel fact. I know it's off topic, just bear with me. But he refused to have romantic interest on screen because he said it negatively impacted black women. And so he
Uh-oh.
wasn't going to do it because it was his target. Thank you very much. So not too much on Denzel.
Okay,
Hey.
okay, see? Yeah. So if she met Denzel, she'd be like, hey, boo.
And that's a no. That's a no. I'm just saying.
No,
Yeah.
Denzel is that guy. Okay.
Tell him, Anna, he's him.
Yes, he is him.
Vita, I know. Don't you even start, Vita. Don't you even start.
I'm gonna be good.
So, one thing I understand about women, right, is they if they see something they can feel like they can fit in their little box, oh, they're gonna give it a rock. They're gonna give it a ride. They're gonna put on that cowboy girl hat and they're gonna put that lasso and they're
Oh
gonna try
my
to give it a hassle.
gosh.
Yeah. Stop playing. Stop playing. They're gonna be like, I can make this fit, I can fit this and change this around. I can move this over here and bring this down here. And he be that dude.
Well, let's keep it real, because part of a woman's ego is I can change him. Not all women, but a lot of women, and let's keep it real. A lot of women, oh, he's a thug, he's a gay. I could change him. So this is what they want. They want a man who's a thug in the streets, but a Jesus to them at home. But be a thug in the bedroom. But when they start to yelling and having conflict, they want him to be a Jesus. See, it's all over the place. You know what I mean? So I understand. Not all, ladies.
I will
But
say this though.
go ahead,
I
Otto.
get what you no, I get what you're saying. But my thing is when a woman matures, like when is it gonna stop? It's okay if you make that mistake that one time. But you're gonna keep doing it over and over again, thinking you could change somebody. Like, no, it should only take that one time, that one heartbreak or whatever it is. It should just take that one time. If you keep making that same mistake 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and you keep getting with these hood dudes and thinking it's a you problem at that point. You need counseling. You need help.
Now, Anna, I was up to you till you said that counseling. I don't know. I think the counselors, them therapists be freaks too, but that's another conversation.
No. I don't know. No, I'm gonna be honest.
Then get
I'm
you
gonna
a
be
male
honest.
counselor. Like not
Yeah.
all counselors are
No.
women.
I don't know, man. I don't trust them.
No, I don't honestly, me personally, I went through a lot in my life and I never went to a therapist. I'm on the fence with therapists. I've never been to one and I don't plan on it. But I'm just saying for those who do, You know, a woman or a man can't keep choosing bad people thinking that you can change somebody, and you doing it over and over and over again. And now you 40, 50 years old, still single, still not married, still, lost in life because you keep choosing these bad people. At the end of the
Well,
day, it becomes a you problem. It's just a you problem at
well,
that
so
point.
Anna, let me help you out, right? You ain't all the way wrong, but you're not all the way right either. Um, every human is flawed. Period. Right? You can clock
Of
that.
course,
Every
there's
human is
nobody
flawed.
perfect out
And
here. There is
right, and
nobody on this
if
planet
you
that is perfect.
right, and if you think you're going to come in and change the human anatomy to fit your standards and expectation and boundaries and put them in a prison and throw the keys away, you
Oh
got another
boy.
thing coming, boo. You got another thing coming. I think that's the problem, and men do it too. I'm not gonna just put this on the women, right? Men, we do it too. We want to try to. Well, we meet her at Miami, and she looking good, and she doing her thing with her friends. We want to trap her, right? We want to put it on her, and then put her in this prison cell, right, and lock that thing down because we don't want nobody else, or we don't want her. We don't trust her or anybody else around her or him, right? So I do think that type of ideology gets a lot of people in a lot of trouble in the long run, right? Because
Hmm. Hmm.
flaws are gonna be flaws, and as just humans beings, it's which flaws gonna land on our plate, right? And you just hope. I guess both women hope it ain't cheating, because I think that's a big echo for a lot of women. But you got to understand, you might pick a person with flaws, but you're coming with your flaws too, though, right? Both of y'all have a level of flawedness, right? That's what compatibility is all about.
Yeah, and your
That's what
level better not be
transparency is
higher than
all about.
mine.
You know what I mean? We got to figure out, okay, what I could put up with and what I can't if I'm going to be a partner with somebody. It ain't, I'm looking for somebody who's, perfect and ain't never going to do nothing wrong. It's all about, okay, do I love this person enough? Do I care about this person enough to deal with their inadequacies, to move this relationship forward and have a happy ending, right? That's what it's all about. It ain't about trying to change nobody. It ain't all about trying to get somebody to live for your happiness. And then the moment they fail, you all of a sudden read them their rights and tell them, well, you ain't this, you ain't shit. Da 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 da. Excuse my language. Da 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 da. And then next thing you know, right? It's just a hostile environment, and which is a recipe for disaster. So I'm gonna land my plane here because I'm a little long-winded. All I'm saying is this:
Right. That's what I was saying
women,
earlier in the
yeah,
relationships. No, listen, stop rushing into relationships, and stop just getting with the person that you think attractive. You have to have it all together.
well, I don't think it's a problem. I don't, I don't, I don't think there's nothing wrong with rushing into a relationship. I don't think. I think it's your mindset needs to be in order, right? You need to understand that if I'm going to be dating in this dating world, if I'm going to be actively participating in a marriage, I got to be ready to come with the good and the bad. I got to be ready to deal with that. I got to have a level of understanding that this is the world we live in. And I'm not perfect myself. I bring in some flaws to the table as well. So I do need to have a level of empathy for whatever comes our way. And that's why the wedding vows are written the way they're written, rich for better or for worse, because they know the worst is going to come.
So since you just said so wait. So you just said that you don't mind the rushing into relationships. So how long is it going to take for you to meet someone before you like them enough to start claiming them? So you say.
Um, there's no timetable. I don't know. It could be a week. It could be 5 years. I don't know. It just if I think it's right. My only thing with women is you guys are quitters, so I don't really. It ain't really you I'm worried about. So I'm just looking for a woman who's not a quitter. If she can not be a quitter and we can be compatible, oh yeah, we gonna work it out.
Explain that a little more. What is a quitter?
Women,
Jesus.
a lot of women like they leave relationships a lot, right? Because they're sometimes because they rely on happiness and the way they feel a lot. So therefore that's very fleeting. Um, and it kind of rules them, right? And it creates such a very unstable method, right? When you're trying to deal with conflict resolution, because the solutions to conflict resolution may not be honored by the emotional elapse, right? So therefore, we're into a situation where now it's either I'm going to happy life it, or I'm going to have to walk away. So I don't really want to be unfair with nobody and try to act like I can really defeat this type of thing. So I really think that if I can see a woman if I can find a woman who can stand on business through the rough turbulence and trial and error, then I'll consider it. I give it definitely consideration. But most women, to me, they put themselves first. They self-centered. They make the whole relationship about them.
Is
And
this
they
your
end up quitting.
first time meeting my friend?
Me personally, I think me and Fifth we spoke earlier. I think I was in the chat a lot
No, she talking about
before
me.
because I was already friends with him before, but I don't
No, she
think I
talking
ever
about me.
been in the panel.
She talking
Yeah,
Oh,
about
no.
me.
she's talking about Ruthless.
Hell yeah, it's my first time meeting his fucking. Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Yes, it's my first time meeting him, and he is funny. I like him.
Good, good.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, he's not lying though. I mean, when you look at statistics of divorces, women substantially at an alarming rate lead the way in terms of who initiates it. So I guess where he's come from, and I think I already spoke on the fact that a lot of people date people based on how they make them feel or what they can do for them, instead of like that actual person, coupled with, oh, I can change this man, right? Not realizing that this man, the core of the man, is still going to be who he is 10 years from now.
Okay, so then that would be the foundation then, because of the core of the person usually doesn't typically waver, but the things outside of that can. That's what you're speaking to, right, person?
Yes.
I just like the fact that he's honest and he's real, and he say like a lot of real stuff, and then he ends it with a joke, which is funny because I don't even think I would be able to have a real argument with him without laughing. Like, and I like that energy, to be honest. A lot of females, they don't like that energy. They feel like, he's trying too hard or he's doing too much. But me, it's good to have that, right? Because nobody wants to get into an argument with a man or vice versa, and this person just don't know how to take a joke or don't know how to laugh. Like, the point of having an argument is to disagree, make up, and call it a day. If we can't make up after a basic argument and we can't laugh about that and we can't do something about that at the end of the night, you know what I mean? Then that's a problem for me. It's healthy. It's a, to some it may be negative, and to some it may be like a healthy way of coping with certain things. And for me, I like it. I like the energy.
I cannot stand people that, like, you talk about an issue and then a month or a year later they still talking about it. Bro, no. We've thrown the whole friendship relationship away. Like, I can't. That is a non-negotiable for me. Like, when we talk about it, get it all out now. If we need to take a 5-minute break, maybe we need to sleep on it, which I don't believe going to bed upset. But if months from now, no, because you're just gonna compile and compound that, like, that anger and or upset, like whatever, until like you explode. And I can't. People
Right.
that don't have a quick turnaround time, I can't.
Yeah, because that shows to me that, first of all, you lied to me when you told me that once this conversation is over, that it won't be spoken about again. You lied to me when you told me that you weren't going to hold it against me. You lied to me when you told me that you're over it. For you to bring it up again lets me know that you're not over it. And that can be a scary thing, because in between that time, were you faking? Were you faking your love with me? Were you were dwelling, obviously, this whole time to bring it up months later? Which means, has anything that we did in between that time, was that ever even genuine, or you just wanted something out of me? You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So it's like, if me and you gonna have a conversation about something and we both agree, okay, listen, I'm sorry, you're sorry, let's move forward. We're not gonna talk about this no more. That's what I expect. And if you bring it up again, that's gonna make me mad. And I might even consider even being with you anymore.
I do agree with that there has to be a level of forgiveness that needs to be forgiven. And I do think some people lose focus on the solution and care nothing about, most people start caring about winning. Some people just want to win. And I think that's where we get into these real, situations in these relationships. I want to win this argument. I want to win this particular whatever. And we lose
Yeah.
focus on winning the real prize, right? Which is stepping back. You know what? Let me not argue this point. Maybe if I'm right, but let me step back because I'd rather win the stability, right? I'd rather win the communication line we got, because if I continue to start getting addicted to winning arguments that even I'm wrong about, then I risk breaking down the communication line. And once that communication line is broken down, that's a done deal. That's death by 1,000 cuts.
Mm.
Is nothing more valuable in life, in my opinion, than your peace. When you are not at peace, it affects everything from your head to your toes. It affects you mentally, emotionally, physically. It affects your sleep. It affects how you think and how you go about your day, how your decisions are made. It affects everything. When you are not at peace, I have been in this situation before. When you are not at peace, you are not a happy person. Okay, you are not yourself anymore because your peace is disturbed. So any way that I could make my relationship work, if I love you and you love me and we have an argument and now we in bad terms, and like baby girl said before, I don't believe in going to sleep angry or upset. I don't want to wake up in the morning with this stuff still in my head, because I'm not going to be able to even sleep that night, because all I got to think about is how can we speak about this? Because if I love you and you're my man, you are my peace. Your home is your peace. When you walk outside and you go to work, that's just a little vacation for the day, for a couple hours or whatever. Your home is where you should be happy at. So if my home is disturbed or something is going on in my home, that's a problem for me. And I'm going to do any and everything I can to make it work, and it has to be a two-way street when it comes to that. You understand? So it's either we're going to work it out and we're going to be at peace with each other, or we're not. And I got to tell you goodbye, because no one and nothing ever in my life ever again will ever happen in my life to interrupt my peace. I refuse to let it happen. I don't care if I'm single with 55 cats when I turn 80 years old. As long as I got my peace, I'm good.
And I told my last ex, peace and a bottle of hair grease.
I knew he was gonna say some slick shit.
Oh my God. All right. Hey, let me because I gotta clock in soon for work, okay? Can I get everybody's final thoughts and then I'm gonna end the stream, okay? Who wants to go first?
Vita, let Vita go first because she knew she came last.
Go ahead, Vita.
I don't know what to say.
Right, she was only here for a few minutes, but
She learned enough. Let her go. Vita's a big girl. Let's go.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've been live since 1:00 Eastern time, so yeah. But if
So
anybody has any final thoughts, yeah, go ahead, Vita. I'm sorry.
yeah, I guess do whatever work you need to do on yourself before you get into a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Women need to stop out here, stop trying to change guys.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta love the man for who he is right now, not who you want him to be later. And if you
Right.
don't, then
Amen.
get out of there.
Okay.
That's all.
I knew you had it in you, Vita. So yeah,
Wow.
shout out to Vita. She's a content creator. If y'all ever want to stop by her channel, she has Vita. Just say Vita on it, just like on the name. She does lives a little bit later. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get my
I
final
just followed you, Vita.
Yeah,
I'm gonna send you one back.
yeah. So Vita,
I just want to say, I'm gonna land too. I just wanted to say, God bless y'all. I had a really good conversation. I laughed. I didn't have to get mad. I slipped up a little bit, but host, I promise I will work on that. I promise. I don't know. But yeah, I love the conversation. The panel was chill, the chat was cool, you know, and I hope your panel thrives and, you know, you make it, right? Because that's the goal, right? We all wanna be something and make it somewhere in life, right?
Right.
Thank you, Juana. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Person, you have a final thought?
No, I have a good day, everybody. That's it.
All right.
Later,
Ruthless,
y'all.
it's your turn,
Yeah.
brother.
Oh
Shout out
Take
shit,
your
we
to my
didn't
time.
get
boy.
What's your
Rufus'
final
final
thought?
thoughts.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Fifth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Uh,
Shouts to you, brother.
you know what I mean? Yeah. My final thought is, you know, you gotta enjoy life while you can. You only have one life to live,
Yeah.
and if you think you're gonna impress upon somebody to live for you and only you got to be insane. I think we have to be more understanding. I think we got to be more patient with ourselves to understand that we can't have our way all the time. And we got to learn to be forgiven. And with that being said, my boy Fifth, shout out Vita. I'll probably talk to you later. And what's her name? How you say her name? What's her name?
She goes by
Oh,
Person.
Person. Oh, interesting. All right. Person. Okay, that. All right. Nice meeting you. And maybe pull up and have this conversation again. Thank you guys. Rufus is out.
All right. All right. I go live on TikTok every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 Central. Every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 Central. There's a new topic all the time. Also, check out my other content creation. This is going to be on YouTube, like I put in a disclaimer. For those who want to listen to the whole show in full, it'll be on YouTube tomorrow morning. And you know, check out my recent interview I did in person, Life After Divorce. It's on YouTube. Very good interview with a woman by the name of Bree. She talked about life after divorce. It's an hour-long interview, and we had a good sat down and good, great conversation. And she has some encouraging words for people who've been divorced and stuff like that. All right. And also Fifth at Night every Monday on YouTube at Fifth General TV, the YouTube channel at Fifth General TV, Fifth at Night. My other live show on YouTube every 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 Central. All right. So peep my interviews, my other show, Fifth in the City. Peep that. Life After Divorce is the actual interview. Um, and see y'all next week. Ladies, thank you, ladies. Thank you, Person. Thank you very
Thank
much. Thank
you.
you. Y'all take care. Have a
You
good
too.
weekend.
You too.
All right.